Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel. Another full race live stream with a realistic broadcast, and we got a special one for you guys today. You can tell I'm buckled up. I am geared to go. I got my Cheez-It hat on. Granted, it's Greg Biffle. I never really thought about wearing my Greg Biffle merch while we were running as Greg Biffle. I never put two and two together there, so maybe when we go progressing forward into the games and we use Biffle again, then maybe I'll start doing that every stream as well. But I have not worn this hat in a long time. This 2016 was Greg Biffle's final season in the Cup Series, and he ran a Cheez-It paint scheme for about a half a dozen races or so. And, as a kid, love eating Cheez-Its. Still love eating Cheez-Its to this day. I figured I'd grab the Cheez-It hat. We opened up the new sponsor. We got a packet of Cheez-Its right here for if we end up getting into another Wreckfest tonight. I don't know. So we're all decked out in Cheez-It colors here today. We got Cheez-It on the hood of the race car. We are set to go. We are going to try to win this race for Cheez-It tonight with a Samsung Radioshack 500. But now as we get down to business, furthermore, we are coming off our first win of the season in the Food City 500 with Terry Labonte at Bristol. Again, this is the final season of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel, and this is race number 7. Pretty much dominated the final two-thirds of that race yesterday. It took over 100 laps to get to the lead, but we did lead quite a bit. We led, I believe, over 300 laps. And there was a caution in the middle of green flag stops with about 170 to go. We were the only lead lap driver that still had to hit pit road, and the caution came out basically when all the other lead lap cars came into the pits, so it pretty much gave us the win right there. We had a 2-lap lead on the field. The rest of the race we ended up winning by 2 laps, I believe, over Tony Stewart, who finished second place in that race. Gordon was running second for a while, but I think, if I remember correctly, Tony Stewart finished runner-up. Diamond Jeff, Cap 24, and Tim Irving, welcome to the stream. So thanks everybody for tuning in. As far as the setup goes, before we get into tonight, it's really fast and it's stable on the short run. But I noticed when I was getting like 20 laps into practice, I couldn't find a setup that was actually able to handle well on the long run. We qualified on the pole. We were fastest in both happy hour and our regular practice session before qualified. So it's going to be hit or miss. Hopefully we're not wrecking, every single long run because our car is not stable. Because if that's the case, this is a 500-mile race. We're likely not going to get to the finish of it. So we're just going to hope for the best. And hopefully you guys buckle in. And we're going to win this one with our first scheme of the year with Cheez-It as our primary sponsor.
Welcome to Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas, and today's NASCAR Winston Cup race, the Samsung Radioshack 500. What kind of a track is Texas?
Texas is an oval,
it is
similar to Lowe's in Atlanta.
What kind of track is Texas? A boring one.
Very narrow groove. These guys will have to
No,
be
I'm
patient
kidding.
and plan their passes perfectly.
It's got its good moments and its bad moments.
Terry Labonte looks to turn his luck around in this race.
Look at that. There we go.
Supporting
here tonight.
I think it just may pay off
Cheez-Its.
in the end.
Sterling Marlin was making a run for the championship in 2002 before being sidelined by a neck injury.
Mark Martin has been the model of consistency since he hooked up with Roush Racing. He qualifies well, he finishes well, and everyone out there on the racetrack respects his skills behind the wheel.
Ward Burton is clinging to a top 10 points position coming into this race.
I had a chance to talk to him this morning, and he's looking forward to this race. He feels they have a very strong car that can pick up some more points.
That's a sick paint scheme for Ward Burton, by the way. I think he ran that in the Bristol Night Race back in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. Engines are fired for the race here tonight. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. We'll take you through tonight's starting lineup that set the field for the Samsung Radioshack 500. Starting first with the front row, Terry Labonte on the pole once again on this young season with Sterling Marlin starting outside pole in second, again supporting Cheez-It. Got the hat. We've got the bag of, I guess you would call them crackers. We'll probably snack on those throughout the course of the night, too. Bill Elliott and Michael Waltrip will be in row number 2. Waltrip, your Rockingham winner this season. In row number 3, it'll be another DEI car lined up on the inside, though, of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd, who is outside. In row number 4, it'll be Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton. Stewart coming off a good runner-up finish where he was in the top 10 for most of the day at Bristol. Dale Jarrett and Ryan Newman will be in row 5. Newman, again, our Season 1 champion here on Thunder 04. In row number 6, it'll be rookie Greg Biffle. Oddly enough, we have his hat on here tonight, but not for that reason. And Hermie Sadler outside of him. Kenny Wallace and Matt Kenseth will be in row 7. Kenseth, their early season points leader up to this point. Also, he won 2 races ago at Darlington. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Nadeau will be back in row number 8. Behind them in row number 9, it'll be Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick. For Gordon, he is a one-time winner this year, winning at Atlanta 3 races ago. Ricky Craven and Mark Martin will be in row 10. Craven, once again, won the Daytona 500 this season. 3 top 10s as well in the early going of the year. Christian Fittipaldi and Robbie Gordon will be in row number 11. For Fittipaldi, another one of those rookies qualifying in the top half of the field. Another rookie behind him as well in row number 12. Inside, Casey Mears, outside longtime veteran Rusty Wallace. In row number 13, it'll be Steve Park and young gun Kurt Busch. Both drivers looking for their first win of the season. Behind them in row number 14, it'll be another younger driver of Kevin LePage with a older but younger to the Cup Series driver, Johnny Benson. Behind them in row number 15, Ken Schrader and another rookie, Jamie McMurray. In row number 16, it'll be Mike Skinner and Elliott Sadler. Jeremy Mayfield, Joe Nemechek will make up row number 17. Behind them in row number 18, it'll be Kyle Petty and David Green. And behind them in row number 19, we've got Brett Bodine and Ashton Lewis. Remember, Bodine won at Las Vegas in the 3rd race of the year, a randomization of the finishing order after we DNF'd 13 laps into that race. Bobby Labonte and Ward Burt will be back in row number 20. Labonte's been running really well in the last couple of races, had a shot to win them both, but couldn't seal the deal. Jeff Green and Jack Sprague will be back in row 21, and rounding out the field in row 22 all by himself, it'll be part-time rookie driver Kevin Grubb in the Dr. Pepper Dodge. Keegan's the real MVP tonight with the Jesus. Yep, yes I am, and we are going to win this race because of it. If we don't, then it's going to be a huge disappointment to us and our sponsors. All right, without further ado, we've got 500 miles of racing at Texas Motor Speedway here on a Monday night on the channel. Green flag in the air. Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin lead each other to the field. Remember, these two are rivals. The only rival of Terry Labonte, I'm not sure if he's upset enough to take a swing at him. He was in the last race. I don't know if that came down at all. And Marlin got a great jump on the outside lane. Michael Waltrip kind of followed. Labonte is stuck on Ricky Rudd. Contact there as both drivers go up the racetrack. Labonte just got really tight going off into turn 3. Couldn't get off of Rudd. A big-time save. I don't know how they kept it off the wall. Jerry Nadeau trying to turn Terry Labonte now after he ran into the back of him after that near opening lap accident. Not a lot of damage on the race car, luckily, because they kept it off the wall, but Labonte looked like he was about to just get T-boned into the outside wall there for a second. Kevin Harvick beats and bangs his way around. Ricky Rudd tries to turn Terry Labonte off the exit of the corner. And Rudd now just sends Labonte down the racetrack into turn number 1. A handful of an opening couple laps here for Terry Labonte. He's getting beaten around by these guys. Really sliding hard into turn 3 right now. He's having a hard time trying to back up that corner. Really just needs things to space out here early on. And he's not too happy with both Nadeau and Ricky Rudd trying to turn him already as well. I didn't think Nadeau was going to get that mad for just running into the back of Labonte. Labonte not too fond of what those two drivers had done to him early on. Adu trying to block up the racetrack now as Labonte gets to his inside. Down the front stretch here at Texas, trying to side draft it maybe a little bit. A huge shot by Adu going off into turn 1. As he tries to wipe out Labonte again. Labonte has not severe damage on the race car, but more damage than what you would want on lap 5 on a fast racetrack like it is here at Texas Motor Speedway. And here comes Nadu again, trying to get to the back bumper and turn Labonte. An interesting start, to say the least, here tonight at Texas. Oh my goodness, Labonte's so tight. He was not this tight in practice. He was more on the loose side than anything else. It's still getting a little loose on corner exit. But as soon as he tries to make a pass on one of these guys underneath him, he just gets mad tight right now. And he has to lock the brakes up just to get the car to turn. Never what you want again on a 1.5 miles, especially. These Gen 4 cars. Once we get about 20 to 30 laps into this race, hopefully we can make it that far. Labonte is going to start to get a good feel for his race car, but then at that point, that's when the tires are really going to start getting older, so we're going to see. Diamond Jeff, welcome back to the stream, by the way. Labonte trying to get around Hermie Sadler. And he does get around him. Hermie gets a good run, though, on corner exit. Labonte got really loose off of turn 2, sweating already. That is never a good sign. It has been a handful in the opening 8 laps of tonight's race. Mark Martin trying to work his way through the field after a poor qualifying effort. But remember, Labonte is coming in off that first win of the season last night at Bristol. I should say yesterday afternoon at Bristol. I mean, look at the car just walk up the racetrack. Purposely, Labonte waited to get to the inside of Kenny Wallace because he didn't think his car was going to turn, and it didn't. But now going off into turn 1, he better hope it's going to turn because he is underneath Kenny Wallace. Might have overran the corner right there, but he was really trying to make sure that car was going to turn that time. And he still hasn't cleared Kenny Wallace. They're still side by side for position off into turn 3. And Jerry Nadu is all over the back of Labonte. Boy, he got really close to turning him there. You know he wants to do it. No reason why Nadu should be upset with Terry Labonte right now. Terry did nothing wrong to him. And you could probably say the same for Ricky Rudd. Although there was significant contact between the two, Labonte just got super tight. Underneath Bill Elliott for position. Very narrow exit to both turn 2 and turn 4 around this racetrack, making it really treacherous. Kind of an ugly start, but we did stay green through all of it. 7 people watching already right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. 1 person's hit the like button so far, so everybody that is watching right now that hasn't hit the like button, please do so as well. Hit that subscribe button. Just 4 subscribers to 700 coming into the night. With this being a longer race, we might actually get there here tonight. I would not be surprised. That would be pretty cool. We're obviously still on the road to 1,000 right now, but every little step we could get there would be a pretty small but good feat to reach here tonight. Tell you what, Labonte has maybe some intentions of turning Ricky Rudd when he gets to him right here, because I think he was going to do it to Nadu, but he was really just trying to get a couple laps in there and not cause a big accident. There's quite a big gap now in between him and Nadu. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. Saw you in the comments section of Iceberg's video there I watched a couple hours ago. Bonnie is reeling these guys back in. He just fell so far behind those opening 3 or 4 laps. Well, it shows there's 7 people watching on my laptop. I'm just going off the numbers that it's showing on there. It's not the actual live stream chat necessarily. It's from the YouTube Studio app, because that's where I'm streaming from. That's how I get it. Ooh, wow, a preset time on it. Labonte again gets tight. Kept it off of Ricky Craven though. Craven trying to maybe chase for his 4 top 10 in the first 7 races of the year. I don't think anybody expected that. 2 of them are top 5s, and 1 was a win in the Daytona 500. He's had just a stellar season to start, especially compared to his prior years, not only in that 32 car, but in general in NASCAR. Ricky Rudd qualified towards the front. When him and Labonte made that contact, they were both inside the top 5, obviously. It didn't help, obviously. Labonte did not take off well on the initial start. You're going to have to monitor how that tire wear is going to be, because, again, this car is really tight until you get right on the exit of the corner. The car tends to get a little bit lighter coming off the transition from the banking to the flat of the racetrack. A big slide going off into 1 and 2, but he clears Jeff Burton. And as he closes the gap on Ricky Rudd, gets really loose off of turn 2. Boy, Terry Labonte's driving that car hard right now. I mean, it's at minus 96. Labonte wants to just get around him, but I don't think he can. He tries to get it pinned underneath him. Rudd tries to take a swing in the center of the corner. But Labonte does drive right on by, luckily enough for him. He had a great entry into turn 1. That's why he just drove right around him. He wasn't willing to play around with Rudd right now. I think he just wants to make sure he can make it to that first pit stop of the race and get a long green flag run, get a good gauge of how many laps he can go on fuel. The pit window should be about 60 to 70 laps tonight. Do I have a got milk hat too? No. The only reason I have a Cheez-It hat is because, again, Greg Biffle ran that sponsor his final year in the Cup Series, which would have been 2016. He had that sponsor for about a half a dozen races, and so I got the hat. That's literally all I have. I don't have a shirt of that car or anything, but I have the hat, so we got the Cheez-It hat, and we actually had Cheez-Its in the house, so I figure I'd bring up a snack-sized packet of Cheez-Its as well. Oh, wow. Bonnie tried to duck underneath Michael Waltrip. Kind of ran right in the back of him. Hard battle now between the Hendrick Chevrolets into 1 and 2. Labonte underneath of Jimmy Johnson, who's running a Looney Tunes scheme. We ran that paint scheme for a couple consecutive races. Might be a little bit different of one, but... Oh, boy. That was a close one. Labonte started drifting up the track. All up in Jimmy Johnson's business right there off of turn 4. That was a close call. Looks like Johnson might lose a spot to Waltrip as well off of turn 2. Ethan, welcome to the stream. I'll tell you what, I think Winval calls it major butthole puckerage, because that's what that was right there. My heart sank when we were drifting up the racetrack there with Johnson. I don't know how we kept it off of him. Stewart tries to pass Kevin Harvick. Now Labonte's trying to do the same. Stewart drifts up the racetrack in the center of the corner. Labonte might get underneath Stewart off in turn 2, and he does. So Terry's starting to rip through this field a little bit better now. Got really tight again. Had to lock the tires just to try to get the car to turn. I'm not sure what other adjustments we can make to the race car. I mean, I threw everything but the kitchen sink at it in practice, trying to get to the stability. Again, the car's fast. It's just not that stable. And that's usually what I don't go for with these full races, especially in the 500 milers like this. But I had no choice. I couldn't find anything that I could get it to be stable and fast. So we have a blown engine on the inside of the racetrack. Robbie Gordon has blown his engine. And it looks like his night will come to an end prematurely. Very early going, too. Only lap 27 now. Wow, Labonte slid right underneath Stewart. I guess that's one way to do it. A little slide, bump, and run, but that wasn't exactly what Labonte had planned there. Just keeps walking up the racetrack. It's so tight on entry and so tight the center of the corner, but it's super loose on exit. And that's why I don't know what to do setup-wise, because if I tighten it up, I don't think we can get much tighter in corner entry, or we're not going to be able to pass anybody. Lap cars, lead lap cars included. But if we loosen it up more, I feel like I might spin out off of the exit of a corner every now and then. I don't want to do that either. No, I don't have a Granger hat. He only had that sponsor for his rookie year, at least in the Cup Series. It was actually his sponsor back full-time in the Trucks and the Busch Series, too, I believe. Oh, boy! Contact there with Marlin and Labonte. I'm not sure how mad Marlin is right now. He might take a swing at Terry Labonte. I'm not going to say that right side of his race car is soft right now, but he's taken a couple shots already. Marlin's able to hold on. For the moment, trying to crowd Labonte off of turn 4. Terry gets a good run. I don't think Marlin's upset enough to take a swing at him, luckily. And Labonte clears him with a clean pass off of 4, down the front stretch, and back into the top 5 now for Labonte. Remember, he qualified on the pole, but he hasn't led a lap yet. We're already at lap 30. I have a couple Greg Biffle hats. I got this one, and then I got a regular 3M one, but I don't know why I didn't even think about wearing it at all when we were racing as him. Probably because I was already wearing a different hat, but I hadn't been wearing a hat all day, and I was like, I figured, what the heck, throw this on. We got the Cheez-It sponsor of the car for the first time this year, so this might be the paint scheme here. I might have to get some Frosted Flakes next time we run the traditional Kellogg's Tony the Tiger paint scheme. Glass of milk or something. I think that's what I'll do for the Brickyard 400. I know it's not the Indy 500, but I might have a glass of milk there with the Got Milk paint scheme or something. If we have it unlocked. I think that's the only paint scheme we have to unlock yet with Terry Labonte. So maybe we could do that with another win, because that's how I unlocked the Cheez-It paint scheme. So just by winning a race with Labonte. Great crossover there on Junior. Junior kind of blocked the outside. Labonte moves to the inside, and he's trying to move around Dale Jr. now for 4th as they go into 1 and 2. Labonte walks up the track, but has him cleared, and he's back up to P4. No, I wouldn't even consider buying one now. We're not planning on racing as Greg Biffle for this season. Again, he doesn't even have that sponsor. He never had Granger as a sponsor going forward. They might have done a couple races part-time in the Xfinity, if I remember. Well, at the time, Busch Series. But I don't think they sponsored him. And in the Cup Series, Labonte almost goes around off of turn 2 as he cleared Ryan Newman at the time for position. The car's really starting to loosen up, and this is what I kind of talked about at the pre-race. The car was super, super loose after about 20 laps. Now, it was tight before that, which I had not experienced up until the race, but now it is really loose all of a sudden. He almost went around off of turn 2. Barely had Ryan Newman clear. He's just going to have to hang on to it as much as he can. it is going to be a handful for the entire 500 miles a night. Again, if we make it that far. The way the car's handling right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a big accident. It's fast. It's just completely unstable. Labonte underneath Kenson. Kenson trying to go 3 wide up the middle in between Sprague and Labonte, and he thought better of it and backed out of the gas. That might not have been a wise decision by Matt Kenseth. But now he's stuck behind Sprague as Labonte moves up to second. Luckily, Kenseth's able to get down in front of Junior, who took over the 4th spot from Ryan Newman. Dale Jarrett leads this race by about 0.6 of a second at the line over Terry Labonte, and Labonte is closing in hot pursuit. Terry going to try to look for his first lap led of the race and nab himself 5 bonus points perhaps. Look at how far up the racetrack Labonte track. Just pretty wide in the corners. It narrows out off the exit, but at least on corner entry it's really wide. But when he's trying to make a pass, it's a completely different ball game, as he is right now for the lead. A little bit of another drift off of turn number 2, side by side into 3 for the lead between Dale Jarrett and Terry Labonte. Labonte on the inside, Jarrett on the outside. And Labonte is clear, barely, off of turn 4. Labonte leads his first lap of the race at lap 39 as he tries to go back-to-back. Nobody has been able to win more than one race up to this point. 6 different winners in the first 6 races of the year. Can Labonte go back-to-back here today? It's a 1.5-mile racetrack there, Diamond Jeff. It's just really wide. Especially the old Texas. I mean, I guess it's still got like the same width of the racetrack as what it does now, but there's a lot more banking in 1 and 2 on this version of Texas, the older version. It's not bumpy at all either, like it was right before the repave, so it was really one groove at this time. Very fast and a lot of grip. First lap car of the race that Labonte's going to catch, at least while he's leading, is Kevin Grubb. Grubb got really tight off of turn 4.
Number 22 is still there. Be patient. The 22 cars coming high. They're all around.
Labonte gets right around him.
Got one outside.
And David Green going to go lap down now.
Still there.
I'll tell you something else, too, with the handling of the race car real quick. So, usually, like, I've never been one to get, like, sweaty palms or sweaty hands on a game. For whatever reason, I never sweat. At least my hands. Even doing these full races. Like, I don't grip the steering wheel real hard, or the controller very hard. But my hands are sweating right now, so that's a very uncomfortable, odd feeling for me. And it's only lap 40. So this is going to be a true testament to whether or not we could actually make it to the end of the race. I'm like having to readjust my hand on the controller. This controller putting in a lot of work here in the early going. Black Ace, welcome to the stream. Trying to read your guys' comments right now. I'm just having a tough time with how bad the car is handling-wise and trying to really stay focused. But you guys are coming in hot in the chat right now. 14 people watching, too. Thanks for everybody tuning in on a Monday night. Some NASCAR Thunder 04 action. It almost feels like the car's getting a little bit better on the longer run. Now we've gotten like 35, 40 laps into it. It's not tight at all on corner entry like it was in the first half of the run. And I think that is showing with the tire fall off being maybe a little bit less than everybody else as well. Because Labonte's out to about a 1.8 second lead on Matt Kenseth now. Kenseth's having a hot start to the season. He's already got 1 win at Darlington just 2 races ago. But not only that, he's had the points lead for a couple races. Now, obviously, again, we've mentioned since the start of the year, we're not going to really know who the true championship contenders are until after about the 12th race of the season. We're only on race 7 right now. So even after today, we have 29 races to go yet. Season-long championship. No chase, no playoffs, so... Still early in the year. Oh, my goodness. Mike Skinner with a block on Labonte.
The 4 car is still there.
Halfway down the back straightaway, and he was blocking him all the way to the inside, and he still made contact with him. .2 second lead back to Kenseth. But anyway, yeah, Kenseth's still having a pretty solid run, and again, that's the second time Labonte's gotten extremely loose off of turn 2. You can see the chunks of rubber coming off of the rear tires. I mean, that is as much drifting action as you're going to see in a stock car without completely losing control. We're getting closer to the end of the actual fuel and tire run. Again, 60 to 70 laps is the run. We're already at lap 48. Quick race pace to start. No caution so far. The way this car's driving, I don't see that holding up all night. But I have trust in my abilities that we can get quite a ways through this race at least. Top 5 is Terry Labonte, then Matt Kenseth, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart has climbed up to 4th. Dale Jarrett rounds out the top 5. Side by side with a couple lab cars. Brett Bodine, Jeremy Mayfield. Oh man, Labonte drifted right up into Bodine, and he's still drifting. Clears him finally. Now Mayfield's trying to block. For those of you that might have forgotten what Season 1 was like at Texas Motor Speedway, that was the Lap 3 huge accident, probably the worst accident I think I've ever seen in my life in a NASCAR video game. Kenny Wallace tried to put us in the wall on like Lap 3, and he just torpedoed like 50 feet in the air. I think Hermie Sadler flipped in the accident too. We had heavy damage. We made it out of that, just a wreck later in the race because a lap car took us out. I think Hermie Sadler took us out at the end of the day while leading. That was the story of Season 1, and that was the story so far this season too. Probably worse this season to start at least. But that was a pretty horrific accident. So both right side tires getting pretty worn out on Terry Labonte's Chevrolet right now. Oh boy. A lot of right to left action with that analog stick, let me tell you. My goodness. He's trying to straighten the car out. It's so hard too because you really don't want to overcorrect it and smack the outside wall. There's not a lot of damage on Labonte's car right now, but he has had some right side damage already. He hasn't hit the wall yet today, but just simply a couple drivers of Ricky Rudd and Jerry Nadeau trying to door slam him on the right side. Those opening couple laps put at least a little bit of damage on it. Labonte's done a pretty solid job despite the bad handling race car that 50 plus laps in, he hasn't even scraped the wall yet. Looked like he was going to do it on lap 1 when he got hooked on Ricky Rudd's car. I don't know how they both kept it off the wall there. Oh, Ken Schrader really pinched Labonte off there. Still kind of pinching him off. Look at Ken Schrader blocking top to bottom on the front stretch, trying to hold on to his lead lap positioning, but he's so much slower than the leader right now. Terry wants to get around him. I mean, look at this. Low exit to the corner for Schrader, and Labonte finally just put the bumper to him and slides right around him. Bonnie keeps him behind. It looked like Schrader was going to try the crossover there for a second. So again, about anywhere between 5 to 15 laps away for pit stops for everybody. We tried to go as far as we can on this opening run at least to start the race today. How can you stage NASCAR? Like, how can you stage cars going 200 plus miles an hour apart from one another? Like, inches apart from one another. That's just... Unless you're an actual fan, you'll just never understand the sport. I mean, that's just... It took me a long time to really digest that, but... I'm not saying you can't get new people involved into watching it, but... I mean, if they're one of those people that just shoot it down right from the beginning and you just keep trying to prove to them time and time again they're just not budging, you just got to let those people go because it can really drive under your skin after a while, trust me. Especially with me being as passionate as I am about it. It definitely was tough from time to time, for sure. A lot of these lap cars have been blocking so much in the early going of today's race, let me tell you. Lap 60 this time by. Dale Jr. up to second. Remember, this is a site of his first career win just 3 seasons prior to this one. Remember, in this season, there's only one race at Texas as well. So this is the only trip to Texas Motor Speedway. The final one, I guess, with this game, technically. This being the final season here on the channel for Thunder 04. Bonnie just flew right around Joe Nemechek. Platinum trophy for Heat 5, nice. Isn't that where you like complete all the other trophies? I think. I could be wrong on that. I don't know how many I've got left. I do a lot of longer races, so if there's like any like short race stuff, I probably haven't completed any of those. I don't know how many I have left. I haven't checked in a really long time. First set of drivers coming to pit road within those last couple laps now, from about lap 61 to now. Terry Labonte's right behind Jeff Green. Man, Green's holding him up. He checked up big time going into 1 and 2. Labonte was just going to stay behind him through the corner, and Green checked up so much that Labonte just ran right in the back of him. Second lead back to Newman, but I think Junior has already hit pit road.
Coming up on a car, exiting pit road. Clear.
Just less than a gallon of fuel left for Labonte. He can go at least another lap, maybe 2 more. Might be able to get to lap 66 before he has to hit pit road for the first time today. More of the leaders coming in. About a half a gallon of fuel left. Labonte's going to take it 1 more lap. So it looks like he'll pit at lap 66. It'll be the first pit stop of the day. There's nobody around him for the moment, at least. He had not one but 2 cautions in the middle of green flag stops at Bristol, so we're waiting to see if something like that might happen again here, but I don't think it will. Could be wrong. We're not done with the pit stops yet. Boy, would that be insane for that to happen 2 races in a row? 2 days in a row? So Terry Labonte coming to pit road this time. Using the banking of the racetrack means there was nobody around him. That's the more stable way to get onto pit road on this racetrack. So, first pit stop of the night. No adjustments coming for Terry Labonte. The car is really fast and more stable in the long run than what it was on the short run. So we just got to survive the short run here. Bonnie makes his first pit stop of the night. Damage will be repaired. He's got about a second worth of damage. So again, not much. Exactly, Tim. They're not stuntmen. So not every lead lap driver has hit the pits yet.
The 25 car is outside.
As Terry Labonte works his way up onto the racetrack. My goodness, that car just got tight coming off of pit road. Off of turn 2, I thought for a second there he was going to hit the outside wall. So just waiting for everybody else to cycle through. There's still 3 more drivers ahead of Labonte that have to pit yet. Bonnie's got about 3.5, 4 second advantage back to Dale Jr. Jr. pitted about 4 or 5 laps before him, so he definitely gained quite a bit of time there. I think he was about 8 seconds off the lead before he came to pit road, so he probably gained about anywhere between 3 to 3.5, 4 seconds maybe on Labonte. Again, Labonte not that great on the short run, so we'll see. Battle's a tight car until we get about 35 to 40 laps into the run. Ricky Craven's still out there, Kevin Harvick, and I'm not sure who the leader is right now, but the leader is at least coming to pit road. Maybe Harvick and Craven will be following him. This guy's trying to get bonus points at least for leading the lap. They're really going to the race while they have a chance to. Every point matters so much, even this early in the season. So yes, wow, Bonnie got loose. So Harvick led the last lap. Kenseth was one of the last ones to stay out as well. He led a lap or 2. So they're both going to get some bonus points, it looks like. And right now, it is Terry Labonte back out in front after the cycling of our first pit stops of the day here at the Texas Motor Speedway. It'll be lap 71. So 70 laps complete, all under green flag conditions so far. Our 500 lap race in the Food City 500 at Bristol yesterday saw 5 cautions total, the first of which came right at lap 70. So already made it as far as laps go. Same distance there, but no caution here at lap 70 in today's race. There's a good chance, as long as we have the stability in the car by the time we get to Ricky Rudd and Jerry Nadeau, that we'll probably get a caution there. Just for Terry Labonte getting a little bit of revenge from the opening laps on him. You can just tell how much more Labonte's having to lift in the center of the corner, especially 1 and 2 that last time. Here in 3 and 4 as well. You just feel it's not going to make the exit of the corner, so he's checking up in the center, so he can at least get a decent drive off. Side-by-side action going on with a couple lap cars just up ahead.
Got one outside.
Bonnie just got underneath Jack Sprague.
All clear, buddies. Small pass.
Sterling Marlin back into the top 5. Oh, yeah, that's not going to be a wise decision. For a second there, Labonte thought about going 3 wide up the middle between David Green and Joe Nemechek, and he thought better of it because that probably wasn't going to end well off of turn 2. David Green's holding him up now. Junior's down to about 4 seconds off the lead. He was about 4.5.
Number 25,
3 wide, maybe underneath them.
25.
Oh, a little contact between Nemechek and Green. Looked like Green just kind of self-cleared him off of turn 2, and now Nemechek trying to throw it back around. David Green saying, hey, David, I'm faster than you. You're already 1 lap down. Let me go. And Terry Labonte's trying to drive around both of them right now. In the meantime, saying, I'm faster than both of you guys. One of them's his teammate, and after Nemechek gets around Green finally, he'll let Labonte go on the inside. Ryan Berwick, welcome to the stream. Wow, man, another instant again. Labonte just gets really, really tight. At the beginning of the run, he still pushed tight off the exit of the corner. Luckily, he had Kevin Grubb cleared. Trying to keep him behind him, at least down the front stretch. Elliott Sadler going to give Terry Labonte plenty of room here. Get underneath him off of turn 2.
Number 38 is still there. Maintain. 38 car is still there. Number 38 is coming high. Okay, we're clear.
This is Terry Labonte's home track as well. Born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. Corpus Christi, Texas, not crispy. There's the speech impediment of the night right there. What did I say the first? Corpus Christi? Corpus Christi, Texas is where the Labonte brothers were born and raised, so the only track that the Cup Series raced on, at least at this point in time, obviously Circuit of the Americas will be coming to the schedule in 2021 as well in the Texas / Austin area, but it's the only home track of Labonte here this season, so this is a definite race that we're going to want to get the win. Between it being Labonte's home track and, you know, us having Cheez-It as a sponsor, and we're in high support of Cheez-It tonight, we need to get this win. Dr. Pepper and some Cheez-Its. There we go. I was never, like, even when I haven't drank pop, and when I cut, like, sweets out of my diet, even on my cheat days, I don't even drink pop. But I used to drink, like, more Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Usually Coca-Cola. Like, Coke Zero, that was, like, my go-to, like, pop. That or root beer. But, yeah, I never really drank Dr. Pepper. I didn't really care for it. I didn't really care for Mountain Dew either. It's usually, like, Coke or Pepsi or... I drank a lot of root beer. Root beer was probably the number one. Muggs root beer, that was probably number one when I was growing up, but... I don't know, just something about it. Just especially, like, I could probably somewhat tolerate Dr. Pepper. I really don't like Mountain Dew. I've never been one for, like, almost like a fruitier, like, especially even, like, the variety flavors. Like, I'm just not a fan of that. Like, even when I would eat sweets, like, I never had, like, gummies or anything like that. Like, I always had chocolate if it was sweets. Or, like, vanilla ice cream, but... never like a fan of those like gummy worms or gummy bears. Like, no, that's not for me. Wow, look at how low McMurray just blocked Labonte down the back straightaway. Boy, another engine failure on the inside of the track. Oh no, Bobby Labonte, engine failure. Terry's brother, and at his home track, you hate to see it. As Bobby Labonte's night's going to come to an end. He's second in points too. That's going to hurt for his sake, and if there's one race, for obvious reasons, you know, Terry doesn't want his brother to blow an engine, but for it to be at his home track, he's putting a lot more weight on the shoulders of Terry Labonte trying to get a win here. That is a tough break for Bobby and that Joe Gibbs Racing Chevrolet. Just got some die cast. Nice, nice. Well, here's Jerry Nadeau in the 0-1. He is upset with Terry Labonte for a reason that is by no means Labonte's fault. Labonte knows that. Look at how far up the racetrack Jerry Nadeau tried to block Terry Labonte. And we might be seeing a caution here before long. Wow, Labonte got loose off of turn 2. He tries to save. Oh my goodness, what a save by Labonte off of turn 2. Nadeau was blocking the heck out of him in turns 1 and 2. Labonte got really, really out of shape. How did he overcorrect that? Or not overcorrect it, I should say. I mean, that car wanted to loop around back to the right even after it looped around initially to the left. Wow, Terry again loose off of turn 2. He's just running a little too high on corner exit trying to get around Nadeau. Jerry is holding him up. Look at this. Lap 89 now. 4.9 second lead back to Dale Jr. He's getting really loose off of 2. Kyle Petty just got loose there as well, and that checked up. Nadeau is blocking the heck out of Labonte right now. Now Labonte just undercut the corner, slides off of turn 2, and again makes another save. Nadeau and Labonte are having their fits with one another right now. Yeah, like anything like chocolate, peanut butter related was like my go-to candy. Like Butterfinger was number 1, Reese's was up there, Snickers, like stuff like that. Like that was like always my like go-to like candies. Labonte trying to get around Johnny Benson. That time instead of getting tight, Labonte got loose on corner entry. Got underneath Benson for a short moment. I don't know how Labonte's going to be able to get around Nadeau. Trying to get around Johnny Benson right now. And Nadeau takes a shot as he runs Terry Labonte down the racetrack. In the center of 1 and 2, a very dangerous area of the track to do that. Look at how much Dale Jr. has caught up over the last handful of laps. I was trying to go 3 wide underneath both of them, so that way Nadeau wasn't going to take a swing at us there, but Nadeau had Benson clear by the time we got alongside of him. So loose off of turn 2, he can't set him up right there like he wants to. I don't know how this is going to get approached right here. This is, this is definitely costing Labonte a lot of time right now. Bonnie did not get into 3 and 4 well. Barely keeps it off the wall. Johnny Benson coming to the inside of the track. A little contact there. The 3 wide off of turn 4. Contact with Benson. Benson's in the wall. Johnny Benson's in the wall off of turn 4. We stay green. They were 3 wide and they almost didn't make it. Benson definitely didn't make it. But we stay green as Benson took a hard lick into the outside wall off of turn 4. They were just 3 wide and it just wasn't going to work. And Labonte just got way too loose as he is here midway, most of the way through the run. Bonnie's trying to get that. Well, he accidentally got in the back of Nadeau, and now Jerry Nadeau's even more upset than what he already was. Pass on the high side. Well, that's what we tried doing with Kenny Wallace last time we were here, and you guys have seen that wreck. That's on the channel. Even Jeff Green is catching these guys right now, and he's a lap car. Tells you how much more off the pace Johnny Benson is. Oh, contact between... Well, that's one way to get around it. Contact between Benson and Nadeau off of turn 4, and Johnny Benson just drives right on by. Labonte to the outside of Christian Fittipaldi off of turn 4. I was surprised. Oh, whoa! Little contact off the exit of turn 4. I was going to say, I'm surprised Labonte stuck the corner as well as he did on the outside to pass Fittipaldi, and then he made a little contact off the exit of the corner, but nothing major with Christian. Hook him on the right. I couldn't get alongside of him because he was blocking so much. And every time I tried to get to his outside, my car would just get extremely loose on the outside. So we're at that point in the run. I don't think I would have been able to do it early in the run anyway either because it would have been too tight. 100 laps complete here tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. My left arm's starting to go numb because I've been resting my left elbow right in my armrest on this chair. Hopefully I'm not out of frame on the camera, but moving over a little bit. By the way, hopefully my camera doesn't die by the end of this race. I only had about 27% on it when I started the stream. And so if it just freezes at any point in time, then it's just dead. I don't know if it's going to freeze or just go black. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So 3.9 second lead over Dale Jr. for Terry Labonte. So Labonte pitted at lap 66. You do the math there. His next pit stop is going to be at lap 132. Should be at about lap 132. Just less than 30 laps away. That was a big slide going into 1 and 2. It's almost like he hit the back of Brett Bodine's car and it straightened him right out. Thought for a second those two AI cars way up ahead got together, but I guess they didn't. Greg Biffle's trying to block Terry Labonte as Labonte drives underneath him and drives around him going off into turns 3 and 4. Pretty big gap in between second and third right now as well, about 13 seconds. Or sorry, not 13 seconds. That's how far Dale Jarrett in third place is off the lead. He's about 7 to 8 seconds behind Dale Jr. Got far down. Bill Elliott tried to block Terry Labonte going into turn 3. A little bit of an awkward angle, but Labonte does clear him. Nonetheless, off of turn 4. Oh boy, I was not paying attention there. Going into turn 3. I'm glad I was able to catch myself at the right time. Had to get on the brakes quite a bit more than what I usually would. Houston. Nice! It's a wise investment. I've definitely had a lot of fun with this playthrough. And even the career mode I'm doing offline on the side. Or off the channel on the side's been pretty fun also. I finally won my first championship. It took me 5 seasons to do it. I just clinched it last week. By 7 points. I almost choked it away. I had like a 180-point lead with 3 races to go. I wrecked out of the third to last race, and then I finished like a lap down in 20th because of a badly timed caution. And then I about wrecked out of Homestead too, and I came back to finish like, I think, 16th. And I was like, where'd Gordon finish? Where'd Gordon finish? Because Gordon, if he would have won, then he would have won the championship because he didn't lead a lap. So he would have led a lap, and then he would have gotten the, 5 points between finishing first and second. And he finished second place. So, oh my goodness, that was really nerve-wracking. I play off stream too. From time to time. Like, I bought... Alright, I think we're good. There. I don't know what happened. That was very strange. Thanks for those of you still tuning in. We had a little technical difficulty. For whatever reason, OBS just lost connection to my Wi-Fi. And I was trying to figure it out by like logging in and logging out of like OBS. I'm like, why is that not working? You know, like I don't really know what to do. And I was like, I really don't want to start another stream. I want to save the stream. And it didn't say the stream ended yet. So I like checked my internet connection and it said it was connected. I was like, well, let me just try reconnecting and connecting again, and it worked. So I guess we're good to go. So thanks for everybody tuning in again. R6, welcome to the stream. 10 likes so far, 3 people watching. We did have a little bit more than that until those technical difficulties, so hopefully you guys can come right on back. Lap 116 currently as we speak. About a quarter of a tank of fuel left. Caution free to this point, and we are running the Cheez-It paint scheme for the first time this year, so therefore that's why I've got my Cheez-It hat on. Granted, it's a Greg Biffle Cheez-It hat, but I had one. Nonetheless, we had Cheez-It on the sponsor. I've got a packet of Cheez-Its that are right there that still have to be opened, that are to my right that you can't see off the camera for the moment. We haven't had a caution yet, so it's not like I've really been able to snack on him at all either. Again, a caution-free race to this point. Yeah, again, sorry for the technical difficulties and why the stream froze for whatever reason. Again, I'm not sure why, but for whatever reason, OBS wasn't connecting to my internet for a second, so I just had to reconnect it, connect it again. It was fine. It saved the stream. The stream never even ended, so we are all good. Bonnie struggled with a pretty tight race car on corner entry and pretty loose on corner exit. Later in the run, it gets a lot better. Tire fall off isn't as bad either later in the run, believe it or not. Kevin Grubb trying to block. Cald was actually in the chat earlier. He changed his name to Cap 24. Yeah, he changed to Cap his whatchamacallit, his profile name to Cap 24. And he was actually in the chat a little bit earlier. I don't know if he's still around. Labonte really loose in the center of the corner. We haven't really seen that much today. He gets loose right in the center of the corner, but boy, he did there as he was hooking right on that white line. He might have gotten the left sides on the paint there and could disrupt it a little bit. Oh, this is going to get tight. Off of turn 4. Ward Burton back to Labonte's inside. Labonte just stays on the outside right now, trying to let Ward Burton and Kenny Wallace go, but Labonte's getting a pretty good run off of turn 2. He got really tight. He's in the wall. Labonte just bounces off the wall off of turn 2. He's going to have to let Ward Burton and Kenny Wallace go after the math. Oh, man. Big checkup by Kenny Wallace. Bonnie ran right in the back of him. He tried to go high and get out of his way, and he couldn't do it in time. And now Labonte gets around Wallace. Still got Steve Park, and they'll have to get around Ward Burton again. 8.4 second lead back to Dale Jr. I think Labonte might short pit here in a couple laps. Especially with the heavy lap traffic right now that is just not letting him go by. Bonnie's really struggled with the lap traffic quite a bit this run. He had an 8-second lead after the first fuel run of the race. Pretty much been the same since. Bonnie to the inside of Ward Burton. Oh boy. I don't know how he kept it off Ward Burton that time. Bonnie got really, really tight. Again, he can go to lap 132 if he wants. But I think he's going to pit a couple laps before it. Put some fresh tires back on it. Lap traffic's been pretty heavy over the last really dozen laps or more. Ever since Labonte caught the back of Jerry Nadeau, really has been the peak moment of that. So Labonte come to pit road, lock the tires up a little bit there. Make sure he wasn't going to speed. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, no adjustments on pit road. Damage will be repaired for Terry Labonte and his team. Second pit stop of the race. What was I saying about playing off stream? Oh, just that I have my career mode, and I think I started it as soon as I got the game, like back in late August, early September. So I don't play offline or like off stream and off the channel a lot, but I've been working on a career mode there. I've gotten 5 seasons in, won the championship here on Thunder 04, but pretty much I was getting about a season in about a month and a half time frame. Wow, Junior was 3 wide there up the middle in between a lap car on the outside and Labonte, who was just coming off of pit road. So Labonte just kind of merged in line behind him, so Terry tries to short pit. Junior short pitted on him earlier in the race, and Labonte's got the grip now with the fresh tires. Might be a little on the tighter side, but he's got his grip back. Look at him just blow past Dale Jr. Junior being on those older tires, he is the leader currently, so he's leading his first laps of the race. Seen a couple of my subscribers over watching Michael Bruce. Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't think I've really watched any of his streams before, but I am subscribed to him. I do watch his videos occasionally. He's a pretty cool, down to earth dude though, especially off camera. He's a pretty funny guy from time to time, too. Well, more than from time to time. I should say most of the time he's a pretty funny dude. He can get a little obnoxious from time to time, but that's just the character of Michael Mooks himself, so if you don't like it, don't watch, but he pulls it off, though. He definitely can pull it off. Does Hendrick have 5 cars? He's got 4. He had 5 at one point in time before NASCAR. NASCAR made the rule, I think, when they brought the charter system in, which was in the early 2010s, I think, when they started the rule where you couldn't have more than 4 cars in a field. He did have 5 at one point. Actually, here in 2003, he only had 4. It was the 5, the 25, the 88, and the 20. Or sorry, the 5, the 25, the 24, and the 48. At this point in time in 2003.
Looks like some of the leaders are headed down pit road. They're all around.
But then when he did have 5 cars at one point in time, I believe he had the 5, the 25, 48, 88. No, maybe he never did have 5 cars. He might not have had 5. I know some teams had 5. Roush had 5. Because Casey Mears was driving the 25, and then he drove the 5 after Kyle Busch left. But I think there was at least one season... No, because Dale Jr. wasn't there yet. So Jr. didn't come over to Hendrick until after... Well, it was 2008, yes, but Kyle Busch left for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008. So they moved Casey Mears from the 25 to the 5, and then the following year, Mark Martin drove the 5. And I don't think Casey Mears was running with Hendrick once Martin came in. So I think Hendrick's only had 4 cars. I don't think they've ever fielded 5. Labonte got loose off of turn 4, slightly grazed the wall. Okay. Gotta reel it in here. Things are getting really out of shape there for a second. Jones was driving the 88. What? Yeah, Jones is going to the 43 next year. Yeah, nobody's driving the 88. So Mark Martin was able to get a lap led, at least one, getting himself 5 bonus points. Terry Labonte has just cycled back to the lead, officially this time by. It'll be a lead change. Labonte short pitted, and he was able to hold on to the lead because of it through the cycling of green flag pit stops. No mistakes by his pit crew through the first 2 stops so far, and caution free up to this point still through 2 sets of green flag stops. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today. Just under an 8-second lead right now for Labonte over Dale Jr. A little bit of open space for Terry Labonte to run currently. A couple interesting moments, especially at the start of today's race. Labonte was getting beaten around pretty good by both Jerry Nadeau and Ricky Rudd at the time. Fell all the way back to 16th at one point, despite qualifying on the pole, before he started to charge his way through the field and finally got to the lead at lap 39, where he led his first lap of the race. 40 days till the 500. Yep, just over a month away. I started seeing the first advertisements watching the NFL yesterday. I was watching the Packers game on Fox. They advertised the Daytona 500 at least maybe 2 or 3 times at least throughout the course of the race. There you see that Cheez-It sponsor. Again, we got the hat. We've got the snack-sized bag of Cheez-Its sitting to my right that you guys can't see off camera. Hopefully my camera hasn't frozen yet either. Again, I was only at 27% when I started here today, so hopefully... I'm using my phone. I have a camcorder that I got for Christmas, but I'm still trying to figure it out. So that's why I haven't used it yet. And I was going to use it today, but every time, I could turn it on when the battery's not plugged into it, but the battery, either doesn't charge properly, and it says it's fully charged and drains quick, or it's just not charged no matter how many times I plug it in. And it just dies before I even go to actually use it. So I've been trying to figure it out since Christmas pretty much, so for about a week. So whenever we do these streams with NASCAR Thunder 04, that's why the camera's really blurry, because the camera on my phone's not the greatest. Rusty Wallace has been all over the back of Terry Labonte trying to get around him the last couple laps. Boy. Camera hasn't froze. Yeah, not yet at least. I doubt it's going to make it to the end of the race. Rusty Wallace trying to get underneath. Terry Labonte off of turn 4. Couldn't quite get under him that time. Bonnie's car's probably felt the best on a short run during the run we're currently on compared to any other run we've seen so far today. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, he hasn't been in competitive equipment in the Cup Series at all. And really, even though he ran for Roush in the Xfinity Series, that was the time where Roush just really started falling off a cliff, even in the Cup Series. So we haven't seen him in competitive equipment since he was with Toyota back in the Truck Series for Kyle Busch. And remember, he did win a handful of races in 2 seasons that he ran there. Won a couple of races at Martinsville. Won the Dirt Derby at Eldora, which I never knew Bubba Wallace really had much dirt racing background, so that was a pretty big win for him, too. So he can definitely wheel a stock car given the right equipment. Next year's going to be a real good testament of it. It's not going to be ride or die next year necessarily, but if he makes it to the playoffs, that's a win for sure. Especially with that organization being in their first year. Now, if they get 2 to 3 years down the line, he hasn't won a race yet, then we're talking, about, okay, maybe he isn't fit for that ride. Meanwhile, as Labonte just kind of ran right in the side of Fittipaldi getting into turn 1. Still hasn't cleared him. Fittipaldi is just not going down without a fight right now, as he is sticking right with Terry Labonte. Look how far Labonte pulled him in 1 and 2. Wallace got to the inside of the 43 as well. I don't believe he'll win a race. Honestly, I wouldn't say he's going to win a race next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't win a race. Like, I don't want to, like, buy into the hype that he's going to go out and win 2-3 races, because Toyota as a whole, last season, outside of Denny Hamlin, they struggled. Like, Martin Truex Jr. only won one race. Kyle Busch only won one race. Like, Hamlin, if it wasn't for him and his team winning a lot of those strategy races with the 550 horsepower package, Toyota wouldn't have won a lot of races last year. So it'll be interesting to see if they come out a lot better next year as a whole, manufacturer-wise. We'll just have to really wait and see. So I honestly, if I had to predict right now, I wouldn't say Bubba Wallace is going to win a race next year, but I do think he'll make the playoffs. And if he wins a race, bonus. Yeah, I get that question a lot as far as when I started watching NASCAR, and I really don't know. I've been watching it since, like, the day I can remember. I couldn't pinpoint when the first race I watched. I honestly have no clue. I was born in 1999, and I've been watching NASCAR pretty much ever since. Whether it was at my grandparents' house, at my own house, trying to find the channel to watch the race. I really don't know. Couldn't tell you what the first race I watched is, because I don't know what the first race I watched was. Body just drove right into the back of Casey Mears. And he didn't quite clear him yet either. Oh, Labonte sends it into the corner. Trying to clear Casey Mears. They made a little contact. Mears is still there. Labonte kind of self-cleared himself on Mears again as he hangs on to his race car. Meanwhile, Dale Jr. is 7 seconds off the lead. I like the... Honestly, like, of all the... I would rather them run a full season format, me preferably. But at the same time, too, I think the current version of the playoffs is the best one we've seen since they implemented the chase. I think it's the more fair way, whether people like to admit it or not, because I think there's too many drivers in it. I'd say limit it down to 12 and have a 7-race playoff. Or no, here's what I've said before. I'd say you would take 12 drivers, keep the points format the way it is, the playoff points, the stages, everything the way it is now if you're going to keep the playoffs. Go from 16, have it be 12 drivers, and have it run like the Xfinity Series playoffs. But instead of having a 1-race decide-all championship, make it a 3-race round like the other rounds are. Make the final 4 3 races and make it based off of points. So that way, even in the final race of the season, you're still points racing and not, just trying to beat 3 guys head up. That's the way I would do it if they were going to keep the playoffs. Oh, boy. Which I've also stated that even though I'd rather have a full season championship, I think they should keep the playoffs the way it is, strictly for the reason that they need to keep the same points format for a long period of time. Because they've been constantly rotating it way, way too much since they implemented the chase in 04. Like every 3 to 4 years they're changing it. Because we've even only had it with the stage points and the playoff points the way they are now for 4 years even. From 2017 to now, so... They just need to stop changing. Because if they change it to... Here's what's going to happen. If they change it to a full season championship, and we go 3 years in a row with the champion being crowned before the last race of the season, there's going to be another uproar with fans. Not all fans, but there's going to be another uproar with fans. And then NASCAR is going to have to want to change it again for the... the added entertainment factor of all of it. So they need to just... They're almost listening to the fans too much, in my opinion. Way too much. I think they need to listen to the drivers more. Quite honestly, I don't think they listen to the drivers enough. I think they're listening way too much of the fans. in more aspects than they should. And, you know, let the drivers decide, you know. Let the drivers decide how they want the car to run. Let the drivers decide if they want a playoff format or, you know, put it in the drivers' hands. They'll have more fun with it. You'll probably see drivers stick around, especially with how much safer the sport is now. I guarantee drivers would stick around, you know, to their late 40s and 50s full time, you know, into the future if you put it more in the drivers' hands versus the way it's been the last, you know, 5 to 10 years.
Fuel's down to half.
Still 7-second lead. Again, that lead's been pretty much 6 to 8 seconds for pretty much the entirety since that first pit stop of the race in between laps 60 and 70. We're at lap 159 now. Brett Bodine almost got in the wall off of turn 2. Been pretty quiet for the most part over the last 30 to 40 laps. There was a little incident between Lobani and Jerry Nadeau, but they got around one another. And outside of the opening couple laps, it was just crazy hectic for the first 30 to 40 laps of the race. There was that as well. And Lobani's going to quickly try to get around 3 wide underneath Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd. What a move by Lobani. And he knew he had to make that move because... Oh, and Rudd's in the wall. Ricky Rudd in the wall, and it ricocheted back into Kyle Petty in the 45 as Lobani drives on, putting Rudd his first lap down. I believe Kyle Petty's now 2 laps down. Lobani saw the opportunity. That was going to be his best chance to get around Ricky Rudd cleanly without Rudd trying to take a swing at him. Was taking him 3 wide with Petty in the middle, and it worked out perfectly for Lobani, especially with Rudd and Petty getting into the wall as well. It really checked up Ricky Rudd. He was going to have no chance to even get into the back of Lobani after that point. I just think it makes the final 10 races, obviously, it does a little bit of both, the way the championship is decided now. Do the first 26 races matter as much as the last 10? No, but that's the whole reason they have a playoff, because they're trying to modernize, basically, NASCAR with other American sports. And in other American sports, you know, baseball, hockey, football, basketball, whatever, the playoffs tend to mean significantly more because teams can't afford to lose. Or not as much, at least, if it's like a 7-game series. So, that's the whole reason. If you have a playoff system, that's why the final, however many races you have in the playoffs, mean more. That is why it does. Whether it's the right or wrong reason, you know, for a race fan, again, I have my opinion. I think this is the best way to have that because I feel like it puts a little bit more emphasis on the first 26 versus what you saw with the old chase formats. Because there would be like 5 points between drivers. And up until they did like 1 point per position, which was 2011, I think it was the first year they did that. But it was like the Winston Cup points format as far as like per race, how many points you would get. And they were making it like 5 points per position from 2007 to 2010, I think it was. Like, that's just not enough. Like, the 10th place driver, 12th place driver in points is still within like a half a race worth of points. That just wasn't enough. At least now with the playoff points carrying over, for Harvick's sake and Hamlin's sake, yes, they didn't quite run as well in the round of 8. But at the same time, too, they pretty much had an obvious lock for the round of 8 because there's almost no way they could fall out of contention that early in the playoffs because of how well they did in the regular season. I mean, you basically have to, like, crash out of 3 straight races, or 2 of them at least, for something like that to happen. But if you could just even survive to the end of 2 of the 3, you'd be fine. If you had that good of a season that Harvick and Hamlin did. Well, here's Jerry Nadeau and Terry Labonte again. They've had their run-ins a couple times already, and they might have another one right here as Labonte tries to get around Jerry Nadeau. Oh, big slide by Labonte. He makes a little contact with Sadler off of turn 2. Labonte got loose on the outside. Sadler was underneath him, and Labonte, in the midst of trying to catch his race car, slammed the right side of Elliott Sadler's car. Cross flags in the air. We're halfway home here today at Texas. Rivalry here between the 0-1 and the 5 is real. And around goes Nadeau. Oh no! Labonte hard into the outside wall. Up in the air. Upside down. Both cars are upside down. Brett Bodine takes a big hit. Caution's out for the first time today, as Labonte got his payback on the 0-1, but then the rear bumpers aligned between the 5 and the 0-1, and both cars come to a dead stop in turns 3 and 4 with vicious hits, both cars on their lid, and a heavy accident. And Labonte's obviously coming to pit road. I don't know how both cars are even in the race right now, let alone... Wow, that is unbelievable how they both made it through that. That got ugly quick. That's fair too, the win and you're in as far as like the playoffs go. But at the same time too, that's also why I think if they limited it down to 12 drivers, we've seen it already with this format that they have 12 drivers, more than 12 drivers win the regular season. Like that would, put into emphasis if we get 15 different winners, then a win doesn't necessarily lock you in. You might have to get 2, or you're going to have to place higher in points than the other 3 guys. So it would make it more consistent with like the actual 12 get in. Very slow stop. Problems on the front tire changer there for Labonte. They come out 12th place, but not everybody hit pit road there either. And green flag back in the air. So Labonte has repaired most of the damage. There's Jerry Nadeau to his outside again. Oh man, a little contact. That deck lid is still flapping on the back of the 0-1. We might have a debris caution here before long. And how much speed got knocked out of Labonte's car with that head-on impact into turn 3 with no safer barrier nonetheless. I'm very surprised they're still running right now. Just unbelievable. Oh, that got tight. Little contact underneath Kurt Busch. Labonte's trying to get to the inside of Busch and keep Nadeau from trying to door check him right back. That's why he wants to take him 3 wide right now. Now Casey Mears is in the middle lane, 3 wide. Well, that's one way for Labonte to get around Nadeau at least. Doesn't have to worry about him that time. Jeez, Pete's, man, Nadeau. Sorry, not Nadeau. Labonte into the back of Steve Park. Getting into 1 and 2. Big corner entry by Labonte. He couldn't check up in time. I'm not going to spin him again. That obviously didn't work well the first time. Why would I do that again? We're lucky to even be running right now. You can definitely tell Labonte's lost a little bit of speed in his race car, though, because he's on fresh tires right now, and he's not really passing anybody for position. He's only passing the lap cars. Well, there was a pass for position. Labonte gets around Rusty Wallace. I still think we're going to get a debris caution at some point for Jerry Nadeau. So our first caution of the race comes just after the lap 170 mark, so just past the halfway mark today before we get that first caution of the race. Labonte got tight, 3 wide too, but he keeps it off the 45. Still 3 wide off of turn 4, now underneath Tony Stewart and Mark Martin. Was for a moment. Stewart trying to, get underneath. I think that's Kurt Busch again. Tony Stewart just hauled his way around Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch, and Jeff Green there. What a move. Oh, a little contact. Mark Martin, Terry Labonte in the center of the corner. They were 3 wide with Ricky Craven on the outside as well. A little more contact. Hang on to it, boys. They fight for 10th. You can still tell the corner he speeds there. Labonte wiggles on the bottom of the track. Slides up behind Martin now down the back straightaway. So he loses his 10th position right back again. Car was bobbling around quite a bit. He got the left sides right on that white line. Craven's car just bottomed out off of turn 4. Labonte gets a run. Gets back underneath of Mark Martin as well again. What a run through 1 and 2. I mean, Labonte just got shot out of a cannon right there. That was unbelievable. So he gets around Gordon now for 8th. Trying to get underneath of Ryan Newman for position. A little contact between the 12 and the 5. Jimmy Johnson right there as well. He does slide up in front of Newman off of turn 2 for 7. Johnson's car looks really fast right now. He might have fresh tires too. Tough to tell for sure.
Number 97 is outside. Still there. 1.5 seconds on the leader, Mike. The 97 car is still there.
Stewart continues to move forward, passing Sterling Marlin now for position. Johnson to the outside of Terry Labonte. What a pass by Johnson. Off of turn 2. Indeed, R6R6 said it. His message got retracted, but subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're extremely close to 700 subs. We could get there by the end of the night. Appreciate all the support you guys give me. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every day, as well as other related NASCAR content. Labonte to the inside of the 9 of Bill Elliott. Into the top 5 for Terry Labonte. Johnson is a little bit faster than him, though, I think, right now. And that would be 4th position again as they've passed each other back and forth over the last couple laps. One caution in today's race where Labonte got revenge on Nadeau, but both cars went airborne. Heavy contact there between Matt Kenseth and Terry Labonte into 1 and 2. Kenseth just checked up big time, and Labonte tried to get under him, but couldn't do it without contact. Side by side for the lead, meanwhile. Dale Jarrett just got passed on the outside off of turn 4. Meanwhile, Labonte to the inside to get around Dale Jr. for 3rd in turns 1 and 2. That was an ultimate slide job. Jr. might have scraped the wall off of turn 2, slowing him down. So Labonte's definitely lost a lot of straightaway speed, but his cornering is still pretty good. That's where he's getting a lot of time right now, plus those fresher tires, obviously, too. So Tony Stewart is able to get to the lead here after passing Dale Jarrett on the outside. My goodness, I can't believe how much these guys are checking up in 1 and 2 all of a sudden. That's just the difference between fresh tires and old tires.
The 88 car is still there. Number 88 is still there.
Labonte gets by Jarrett now for 2nd off of turn 4. Johnson trying to follow him. Johnson, I still think, is faster than Labonte right now, so we'll have to see if make a move. Jimmy just can't even keep up with Labonte in turns 1 and 2 either. Labonte hooks up through 1 and 2 beautifully right now. Ever thought about making merch? Yes, I do plan on trying to do something for merch here within the next couple months. I have an idea I've been pitching around in my head. It's just going to be a matter of how I'm going to do it. Because without having Teespring, which I need 10,000 subscribers to do that on YouTube, it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to probably start it out of pocket initially. So that's the only reason I haven't done it yet. And then you guys would have to basically purchase it for me. So I'd have to find out a way to, like, to do that somehow, some way. Maybe I'll throw that, like, exclusively, like, with the Patreon, too, that... Well, then I would have to make it more expensive. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet. But I've definitely thought about it. Teespring is the merch kind of, like, site / the way merch is available on YouTube and for YouTubers. But once you get to 10,000 subscribers, you can basically, like, create your own right off of there. And that's where you see, like, the merch on, you know, other various YouTubers that have merch, but they have 10,000 subs, that they're able to have Teespring on their channel. I don't have that, obviously, because I don't have 10,000 subscribers. So, you know, I don't know if I'll have to wait till then to do it or figure out a way. There's actually a local T-shirt shop like 10 minutes north of where I live that my grandparents know the owners pretty well, so, you know, maybe I can hook something up there deal-wise, but if I can't do that, then I'll probably have to hold off. We are getting closer to 1,000, that's for sure. Still on the long grind. Black Greg Biffle shirt I own. Yeah, I have worn that a couple times. It's the only one I own that actually fits me still, because when I was younger, obviously, I, you know, had a lot more, but I only have one that still fits me. Tony Stewart leads over Terry Labonte right now as we speak. About 140 laps to go, actually. These guys are going to battle it out hard with one another right now as Labonte tries to cross Stewart over, but Stewart keeps trying to block and hold on to the lead as much as he can. Caution off of turn 2. There's a big accident down the back straightaway as they race back to the caution flag. Off of turn 4, it'll be Stewart by inches holding off Labonte. There's a big crash off of turn 2. I saw it on the track map. Jamie McMurray goes around off of turn 2 and backs it back up in front of Jeff Green. My goodness. So I'm not sure how he spun initially. Jeff Green got a big piece of that. I believe Jeremy Mayfield did as well. Caution's out again. Pit stop again coming from Labonte. And Stewart and a large portion of the rest of the field going to stay out as well. But Labonte's going to take this time to repair damage. Not sure how many cars are on the lead lap, but however many there are, Labonte's going to line up behind them all. No, I haven't looked into how much money I can make on YouTube. Like with the current watch time that I have now and everything and the views. No, I haven't looked it up. Another mistake on the front tire changer. I'll tell you what, he has been the Achilles heel on this pit crew all season. But it's not like we can fire him on the career mode. Like in the career mode. 23 second stop, but Labonte was the only one on pit road. Tried to repair damage as much as he could. It looks like he'll be rolling off 16th when the green flag drops again. That is the second caution of the night. Another big accident, not as big as the first one. More cars were involved in that one, but nowhere near as significant. They didn't have two cars going airborne again. Tell you what, Texas Motor Speedway on this game. Oh, no! Labonte just got hooked on the back of the 37 of David Green. Both cars go sliding into the outside wall as we stay green. I don't even know how that happened. It was like there was a hitbox or something. Now we got cars coming to pit road under green instead of under yellow for whatever reason. I think it's because the window's open to make it on two stops now. That was a strange sequence. And now we got a caution for debris. Caution's out for debris. Not sure where the debris's at right now. They might have passed it already. So they're going to race back to the caution flag. Heavy damage now to the right front of Labonte after getting into David Green as they race back to the caution flag. And I accidentally skipped the... must have, like, double pressed X or something. So I accidentally skipped it. I can confirm it was debris. I'm not sure off of who, whether it was McMurray. We know Jerry Nadeau had heavy damage at one point, so that could have been it. And a lot more drivers come to pit road again. The reason why Biffle's pitting again is because he's got more damage on the car he wants to repair. As you can see, obviously. So caution's out for the third time today now. We went caution-free through the first half of the race, and now 3 of them have pretty much spiraled within the last 30 to 40 laps as we near the lap 200 mark today at the Texas Motor Speedway. Spin your rival. And now the Jackman's having issues. So this is the third straight pit stop for Labonte that there has been issues. First 2 times it was with the front tire changer. That time it's with the Jackman. 12 seconds just to put the right side tires on the car. My goodness. This is going to be a probably even slower stop than the prior 2. It is slower. Look at how much. 24.5 seconds. The only guy we have to get payback on is Ricky Rudd, but I don't know if I'm going to do it today because this car's pretty beat up as it is. 200 laps complete at the line. Green flag back in the air following that debris caution. Labonte's able to get to the inside pretty quickly. He's got a lot of cars to pass, though, right now to try and get back out in front. Everybody's on equal fresh tires right now. Baker's drunk. They may very well be. His car is starting to get a little bit tighter like it was earlier at the beginning of the run. He's just going to have to be really careful passing guys right now. Tale of 2 halves of this race. Things have just gotten wild here in Texas. Not too many cars even behind Labonte on the restart, and all of them are lap cars. We need to win this for Cheez-It. Again, supporting the Cheez-It brand tonight, both on the car for the primary sponsor, but of course wearing the hat that I happen to have. Not a Terry Labonte hat, but it is a Cheez-It Greg Biffle hat nonetheless. And I've got a bag of Cheez-Its that I still have not opened yet. Probably won't even open until the end of this race. And not that I haven't had much time. We've had 3 cautions as of late. I probably could have opened it up. But. Wow, that was a slide into 1 and 2. Labonte barely keeps it off the 11 of Bodine. It was outside. Labonte's definitely getting tight like he was earlier in the race. And he's underneath another car. He's had a hard time in the first half of a run trying to keep it under him and not make contact with him. Oh, man! Going off into turn 1, Labonte cut the corner way too deep. Contact to his outside with Elliott Sadler. Sadler goes high, loses a bunch of ground. And now heavy damage to the right front again on Terry Labonte's car. It's just been a crazy race. Labonte trying to make it to the end, desperately. Got the commercial break. We need to reach out to Cheez-It so they can sponsor us. Sponsor the channel. I'll promote them every night and run the same paint scheme the rest of the year if I have to. Who owns Cheez-It? Like, what company is it? Is it Ritz? Oh, trouble! Car in the wall! Turns 3 and 4, they stack up behind him. I'm not sure who got into the wall initially. We stay green somehow. I'm not sure how that happened. Labonte checked up immediately knowing how much damage he's got on the front of his car. That could have gotten a lot uglier than what it was. Camera finally froze. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to be on the screen the rest of the day. I probably got the stupidest look on my face, too. My mouth's probably open. My eyes are probably closed. John Morris, welcome to the stream. Nabisco? Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, too. Looks like we've had another engine failure as well since the restart. Again, if you're just tuning in, 3 cautions all within the last 40 to 50 laps now in the second half of this race, after a caution-free first half where we saw a set of 2 pit stops. Mostly everybody has taken their third under caution. Under the last 3. For Labonte, he's pitted under all 3 of those cautions. He's got a pretty damaged right front right now. So he's really trying to nurse this car to the end of the run as much as possible. But you can see he is sliding around a lot. He's lost so much speed. Oh, man! Trouble! Off of turn 2. Casey Mears in the wall. Ricocheted into Steve Park. We stay green. That almost turned the 5 of Labonte right around. He was just able to duck and avoid to the inside in time. They were 3 wide off the exit of the corner, and both cars got into the fence. And again, we stay green, adding to the craziness we have seen in the second half of today's race. I guess Kellogg's makes sense. I just didn't think that Kellogg's sponsored. I didn't know if it was like Frito-Lay, too. That was another one I was kind of thinking of. 5.7 off the lead. Again, Labonte's not far off the lead, but he's definitely lost a lot of his pace right now. But I mean, he's been in a lot of near accidents. If not, has wrecked hardly. He already flipped today. Maybe we can have a flip and win. I don't know. Him and Jerry Nadeau got tangled up going off into turn 3 earlier. Both cars went airborne and on their lids. And more cars pitting under green currently. Oh, Matt Kenseth and Rusty Wallace both on the lead lap. Labonte just sends it into 1 and 2. And Labonte's coming up on Jerry Nadeau right now. So they have about 120 to go. But the way everything's going now, I don't think Labonte wants to short pit. But he's going to have to get around Nadeau at some point here. Cleanly. Because I don't know if he can take another hard hit to the right front of his race car. I am not going to hook him and turn him. We've already hooked and turned Nadeau once today. We got our payback on him, and our front, specifically the right front, is severely damaged on Labonte's Chevrolet. I think Nadeau's still got heavy damage to the back of his car, specifically that deck lid. Labonte trying to get around him quick. Oh no! And barely keeps it off the wall. Not Benson, but Jerry Nadeau got into the wall there. He tried to wipe out Terry Labonte, and I don't know how Labonte kept it off the wall. He kind of sandwiched the 0-1 up there off of turn 2. He tried to hustle around him as quickly as he could. If Labonte would have hit that wall, I think his race is over. And he barely kept it off the wall. That was a very, very sketchy situation. I was just trying to keep it off the wall. That's the only reason he got slammed up there. I mean, Hit Labonte right in the center of the corner. Look at how much time that cost Labonte. Almost a second and a half. Terry Labonte's just trying to survive here today. Just a crazy, crazy race today. By the way, we only have 6 likes. Didn't we have 9 earlier? I could be wrong on that. I might have been dyslexic and read it upside down. I don't know if that's a thing, but I could have swore we had more likes earlier. No, we had like 10 or 11, didn't we? I don't know. That's strange. Bonnie gonna get on by the 19 of Mayfield. McMurray's car almost looks spotless, at least from the back, despite spinning, bringing out that second caution off of turn 2. Labonte really needs to get around these guys clean. And McMurray's trying to block him, and again, I don't know how much more damage that right front can take. It's pretty heavily damaged right now. McMurray's blocking quite a bit, though. Labonte's just got to be patient. We still got 100 laps to go, just over 100. At least one more pit stop, if not 2. Some of these guys might be able to make it on 1. Labonte trying the outside to get around McMurray. This could get treacherous here off of turn 2. Oh, he got loose. A little contact. But the car to his inside. That didn't work out too well. He had to let him back around him. It's getting very racy with the lap traffic up here. And Labonte's just trying to do what he can right now to just take his time. Just check up so much going into 1 and 2 also. A lot of blocking going on with the lap traffic too, not only on Labonte, but lap car on lap car 2. I think that's Ward Burton who just barely pulled up in front of McMurray. Off of turn 4, Labonte going to get around Jeff Green. Looks like he's going to get around Ward Burton off of turn 2 as well. Just kind of follow Jamie McMurray through there. BLS, welcome to the stream. Doing pretty good in what's been a pretty sketchy race here over the last 50 to 60 laps now. But Terry Labonte's hanging in there with just over 100 to go after flipping earlier in the race. Jerry Nadeau went flying in that same accident as well, but both drivers are still on the racetrack. Big slide job off of turn 2 as Labonte clears Kyle Petty now. R6, by the way, no, I am signaled. Oh boy. Close call. Labonte trying to get around Jeff Burton, I think, for position right now. Labonte gets sideways off of turn 2. Saves it again. Boy, he's had a handful. Pretty much the whole race. Now there's contact. Kyle Petty runs into his right rear. Oh my goodness. Everybody needs to hang on to it here. Surprised we've had as long of a green flag run as we have. Oh, car on the wall! Back down the racetrack! Bill Elliott, I believe, into turns 1 and 2. Everybody scrapes on by to the inside. Or I should say escapes on by to the inside, but my goodness. That'll raise your heartbeat there a little bit. We stay green. I'm not sure how he got up into the wall. And again, knowing the damage on the front of Labonte's car, this has just been treacherous. Looks like Elliott is still running. Labonte's getting really loose on corner exit. Jeff Burton continues to try and block Labonte off of turn 4 to the inside. Goes Terry Labonte. Still can't get around him. He just doesn't have the straightaway speed. It's really where he's lacking. Just really trying not to overdrive it with how loose he is. Look at that. Wiggling about halfway down the back straightaway even. It was a good corner, 1 and 2 for Labonte that time. Barely keeps it off the wall, though. Ashton Lewis kind of holding him up now. Labonte to Lewis's inside off turn 4, clears him at the start-finish line. 7.8 seconds off the lead. Labonte is starting to lose a lot of ground there from the leaders. Michael Turner as well, welcome to the stream. Good to see you there in the chat. To all people watching right now, hit that like button if you haven't already. I know my camera's frozen, by the way. Not really anything I can do about it. It died on me in the middle of the stream, so that's why I'm not moving up there, but the audio's still fine and everything else is working because the microphone's plugged into my laptop and not my camera, so we are good to go. Terry Labonte's got a pretty soft right front. He tries to make a pass on Johnny Benson right now. Going off into 1 and 2. Labonte just sent it into the corner to get around Benson. We've seen about 3 or 4 cars hit the wall on this green flag run hard in the center of the corner, and they come right back down the track, and everybody misses them, luckily. We've seen 3 cautions in this race total. We're on about a 35 to 40 lap green flag run so far. Ooh, 3 wide move to the bottom into 1 and 2 to get around both Mark Martin and Kevin Grubb, and also clearing David Green off of turn 2. So finally Terry Labonte gets around Mark Martin for position. That was for 11th. So Labonte tries to fight to maybe get his 3rd top 10 of the season. I believe he clinched the most laps led. Well, he might not have clinched it yet, but he has led the most up to this point. Probably got to be really close if he hasn't already. I was a Harbaugh supporter for the longest time. I felt like I was like Michigan, as Michigan fans, they want him out of there. And up until like the start of last season was finally when I kind of drew the line saying, okay, they need to let him go, because they were struggling so bad. They almost lost to Army last year. Went to double overtime. If it wasn't for Army missing a 50-yarder at the end of regulation, we would have lost that game. But I had faith that they were going to miss it because college kickers just don't do well. So I kind of figured that was going to work out for us. But, man, yeah, it's just not been good, especially this season. Like, this season they started off hot, and I'm like, okay, maybe something has changed, but it just really hasn't. It's almost gotten worse over the last 2 to 3 years. So I just kind of think he's got to go. It's definitely a little overdue now. I was trying to say give him a chance. It's only been 3 years. It's only been 4 years. You know, after that 4th year, every single player on the team is your recruit. And that was going into last season and now this season. And the fact of the matter is, they're just not good. Like, they were just terrible this year. They were terrible most of the year before. They had a little bit of a hot streak middle of the season, but they weren't really playing anybody either. I mean, they were losing to bad teams this year. They barely beat Rutgers. I know Rutgers is a little different. They look like they have a bright future, but still. Labonte underneath of Jeff Burton. We've talked about Labonte maybe trying to show... Oh, Burton in the wall off of turn 2. Got really tight. Maybe a little arrow push off of turn 2 once Labonte slid up in front of him on the exit of the corner and cleared him. Terry Labonte again trying to make it to the end of this fuel run. He's trying to make it to 66 to go if he can. That's as far as he has run on a full tank of fuel today. He's going to get underneath Ricky Craven in turns 1 and 2 now. Trying to draft off his teammate Joe Nemechek. So get around him going off into turn 3. Just undercut the exit of turn 4 there a little too much. Again, a miracle Labonte still running after flipping in this race. That pass on Nemechek was 4th position, by the way. So he's up to 9th with a pretty well-wrecked race car right now. So Labonte's just been trying to hang on for dear life. The frost is melting, yeah. I didn't think he was like really a bad coach. I mean, Nebraska's definitely been improving the last couple of years. Them and Rutgers have probably been the most improved team over the last couple of years. Ever since Martinez wasn't your guys' quarterback anymore, you could really start to see the improvements there. By the way, pass for 8th there for Labonte on Kevin Harvick now. Still 6.6 off the lead. It's going to take a lot to win this race in the final 90 laps. But I think Labonte just wants to make it to the end knowing he's already flipped. After him and Jerry Nadeau tangled getting into turn 3 earlier. Again, it's been a wild race for those of you that might have missed it. We've got Cheez-It on the car tonight, so I've got the Cheez-It hat. We need to bring home a good finish. It's also Texas Terry Labonte's home track at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas. I probably got memed earlier in the night when I accidentally said Corpus Christi, but it's but you guys might have missed that as well earlier in the stream. That was probably the funniest moment of the race, but it has been a long one for sure. 500 miles around the Texas Motor Speedway. 3 cautions to show for, so it's been a pretty decent race pace. Slowed up a little bit in the second half, but still pretty good. Bonnie gets around a lap car right there of Greg Biffle. Well, here's going to be the next test. He's got another rival of Ricky Rudd just a couple cars ahead of him now. And Rudd is extremely upset with Labonte, even though Labonte made accidental contact with him earlier. So it's going to be interesting to see how Terry Labonte's going to try to get around these guys. He's less than 6 seconds off the lead now. He is slowly starting to cut into that deficit. He's going to get to the inside of Ryan Newman. Newman's car bottomed out there in the center of 1 and 2. They're still side by side for position. And the right front is severely damaged, really the right side in general, severely damaged on Labonte's car, as he just passed Ryan Newman now for 7th. So Labonte just trying to share draft with Ricky Rudd right now. He's trying to knock it below 60. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. This is a very scary situation, guys. Labonte doesn't want to turn him because last time he tried to turn somebody, it backfired on him immediately. Although, we will get payback on Ricky Rudd another day. Today is not that day. Labonte just trying to survive.
Check your fuel gauge. Number 21 is going to make it hard for you to get around him.
Got a quarter of a tank left of fuel. Again, there's the damage indicator on. We just showed on the upper right-hand corner of the screen there. Very careful indeed. If we get alongside of him, he's going to wreck us. And I don't know how much more of a hit we can take to the right front. Ricky Rudd's running a really good pace right now, though, as he has caught, I believe, Michael Waltrip for position as well. If Labonte's got a chance to take it 3 wide, he will if Rudd gets to the outside of another car, but that's going to be the only way he's going to try to pass Rudd. Maybe he could trap him behind Skinner, but even then, I mean, Labonte's going to have to get a huge run to make that work, and it's not going to now.
Okay, time to go. The leader is about 6 seconds ahead. The 4 car is outside.
So again, Labonte following Rudd past Mike Skinner.
The 4 car is looking high. You're clear.
Terry Labonte just taking it easy right now. In line behind Ricky Rudd. It is probably going to be a fuel mileage race today as well. These guys are trying to get to 66 laps to go, at least for Labonte's sake, to make it on field at the end of the race. That's his window. There might be some guys that can make it about 70 laps. So it could come down to a fuel mileage finish, and we've had a couple of those on this game, though none this season through the first 6 races. Today could be the first. If he wrecks you, wreck him back. He's not going to wreck me because I'm not even going to get alongside of him. Hopefully he comes to pit road soon. We don't have to worry about him again. Rudd was running a really quick pace there at first, but not anymore.
Number 21 is going to make it hard for you to get around.
I mean, it might take a light tap just to end Labonte's day at this point with the damage, so he's trying to survive. Once he comes to pit road, it'll be a little bit more repair, and he might be able to take another shot. As long as it's not in the center of the corner, at least. It's almost wrecked him a couple times alone today.
21 car is going for the block.
Labonte lost 0.2 of a second on the race leader that last lap. Rudd's holding him up quite a bit. Terry gets a good run there. 1 and 2 gets right in line behind him. We can't even bring him below 96 with the share draft, though. That's the problem. Like, I can't even share draft with him. Obviously, because it's Texas and it's only a mile and a half. It's probably a good reason why we can't do it. But even at Bristol, we were able to share draft a little bit with some guys.
We're about 7 seconds off the leader's back.
Another 1/10 of a second slower than the leader that last lap. Labonte's just got to wait. Yeah, I mean, that's just the patience factor right now. We still got 80 laps to go. So they're about 14 laps away from that pit window opening to the end of the race. Newman hasn't really capitalized, though, on Labonte or Rudd. Especially Labonte with how slow both of these guys are running right now.
The 21 car is blocking. Number 21 is inside.
Labonte really started drifting up the track in the center of 3 and 4.
All around. We got to pick up 7 seconds.
6.9 off the lead, almost 7 seconds back.
The 21 car now left. Number 21 is a
Labonte's just sitting right behind Ricky Rudd right now, just waiting for the pit stop to come about.
You're almost out of gas.
If he can make it that far. It's going to be close.
The 21 car is putting a block on you.
We'll have to see when everybody else starts pitting too, though. This definitely cost him Labonte time because he might be one of the faster cars on the track, even with the damage, with it being a long run up to this point. Again, we last went green at lap 201. It's been almost 60 laps into this run. Exactly, we got to run our race and not his. Explained it to a T right there. Yeah, I mean, the problem is I've tried to share draft with him, but I can't stay in the same line with these old tires. Car slides around too much, and we get too much of a pull on him. He's almost running too slow for us to do that. I don't want to run in the back of him because I don't know how much more damage we could take. Again, even the lightest touch might do it. So that's why I'm trying not to run directly behind him, too. I was so tempted to turn him right there, but I didn't. I didn't want to do it. Not that way. Hey, that was an opportunity to do it, though. That just goes to show how nice Terry Labonte's being with Ricky Rudd right now. Rudd's still holding him up. And he's still got to door check him, too. Man, he left a lot of bottom open. It's so tempting. But Labonte just can't do it. Again, there's the damage we're working with right now on the right front in particular. Or really the right side of the car in general. Oh, we got some cars hitting pit road right now with just over 70 laps left. And Ricky Rudd's one of them. Well, there we go. That's one way to do it. Oh, man, Labonte clipped the grass on the front stretch, got sideways. So Ricky Rudd comes to pit road. That'll help Terry Labonte. There are a lot of the lead lap cars that came to pit road really early right there. Man, it is going to be a fuel mileage race today, ladies and gentlemen. So stick around for this one. Things can get interesting. This could be the race of the week. Week 2 of 2021. Also, check that video out. We're doing a weekly highlight video of the race of the week on the channel. And this one's shaping up to be that way. It's been pretty close for the most part. But now it's turning into a fuel mileage race. We had a nasty crash that brought out the first caution on lap 172 with Terry Labonte and Jerry Nadeau both going airborne. Both drivers still in the race. Labonte still has a shot to win. Nadeau's a couple laps down. Labonte's still in the lead lap. These guys trying to take it as far as they can on fuel right now. More leaders coming to pit road. We've got 71 laps to go at the line that time. Wyatt Hansen, welcome to the stream. I think Bodine might have fresher tires. Ooh, contact! Oh, no! Bodine trying to come to pit road. Labonte misses the pits. Bodine tried to come to pit road. That almost ended Labonte's race. Cars blowing by him on the outside down the front stretch. Labonte couldn't come to pit road. He would have been speeding there. 70 laps left. We stay green. And a large amount of time lost for Terry Labonte. Unbelievable. And Labonte coming to pit road now. Bodine was trying to pit from the second lane. A 4-tire stop coming up for Terry Labonte. A large amount of ground lost, though. And again, R6 stating, I'm hitting show, but for whatever reason, it just keeps saying error, so. Yes, indeed, subscribe if you haven't already. We're really close to 700 subs on the channel, hopefully trying to get there by the end of the night. We have daily NASCAR content, full race live streams of the realistic broadcast every day. So here we go. 21-second stop. More damage repaired there, so at least the right front's not as severely damaged as it was. That's a bonus for Terry Labonte and Labonte fans out there. And right now, we're looking at 2 to 3 laps short on fuel right now for Labonte to the end of the race. Not much. 2 to 3 laps short. He lost a lot of time, though, coming to pit road the lap before. He didn't know Brett Bodine was going to pit. And I'm surprised he even survived that much contact, knowing how damaged the right front of the race car was.
16 car was how much?
Some of these guys are still stretching it, though. The race leader is currently on pit road at lap 267. Some guys are probably going to be able to make it on this final stop right here, and some guys are probably going to have to pit again.
Number 1 is inside.
But it is go time here today at Texas.
Back on both sides.
Oh, wow, Labonte, a huge hop there on 1 and 2. My goodness. Kind of clipping the apron a little too much. Oh, boy. So after the cycling to pit stops, Labonte's shown in 13th right now, and he's about a half a lap, if not maybe 2/3 of a track behind the race leader. He's got a lot of speed wrecked out of the race car. Labonte to the outside off of turn 4. Oh, Jack Sprague came to pit road, so did Kevin LePage. That kind of helped Labonte get on by him. Trying to get around Ashton Lewis. Lewis is blocking like crazy right now, going off into 1 and 2. What is Ashton Lewis thinking there, blocking Labonte like that? As they make contact. Labonte clears him off in turn 2 still, but that was a lot harder than what it probably needed to be. Luckily, Labonte didn't have much damage on the right front anymore. 4 tires definitely feel nice on the race car, too. Labonte's shown 19 seconds off the lead. Yeah, as far as like video game wise, it's hard to really tell if this game you could have more damage or NASCAR Heat 5, because there's been, crashes that like haven't been hard at all in both games that I've DNF'd out of, and then there's been some super violent crashes like you saw today here in Texas that we survived after flipping that we probably shouldn't have. So, and it really depends. It's a little inconsistent with it, but I'm sure Labonte will take it here today. Again, it is a fuel mileage race to the finish. Last stop coming for Labonte, at least, with 69 laps to go. And he's only been able to make it 66 laps on a full tank of fuel today. But he is driving as hard as he can right now because he needs to cut into that deficit. And who knows, maybe we get another caution. If we do, they might be able to make it. If not, then they would probably just come to pit road. I think Labonte's going to pit even if we do get a caution. Again, we've only had 3 of them today. 1 for debris, 2 for accident. We already mentioned the Labonte and Nadu airborne crash. The second caution of the day was about 10 laps after that, when McMurray spun off of turn 2 pretty much all by himself and backed it back into a front of a couple cars like Ward Burton and Jeff Green. Jeremy Mayfield was involved. Both just past the halfway mark. Currently on about a 75-lap green flag run now. We last went green at lap 201. We're going to alternate to the different camera angles one final time now in today's race. Labonte is digging right now. This is either going to be a fun comeback or we're probably just going to finish right about 5th to 15th, depending on how many cars can make it on fuel. It is going to be very close for everybody. Again, I think some guys are going to make it, some guys aren't. I honestly don't think we're going to make it. It looks like Labonte's going to be about 2 to 3 laps short. Now we have somebody coming to pit road now. Mike Skinner, he probably knows he definitely can't make it, so he's coming to pit road early. It'll be a fuel-only stop. It'll be probably a half a can only for Labonte when he does come to pit road, but at least he's got a lot of open track ahead of him right now, too. Gone up about 0.6 of a second since coming off of pit road. Still really digging hard in turns 1 and 2. Just able to drive it in so much deeper and get it to stick. Almost more since the accident with the slower straightaway speed, too. And Labonte hasn't even led a lap since that major accident just past the halfway mark. Next race for the season will be at Talladega for the Aaron's 499. We saw back at season 1 when we ran as Greg Biffle, we won 2 races at Talladega out of the 3 on that custom schedule season. So that is definitely a winnable racetrack as well coming up. And you never know, here today we could see another different winner. And there's a very good chance we could see a 7th different winner in the first 7 races of the season now. And we're 6 for 6 currently. And despite Labonte leading a lot of laps in the first half of the race, he's barely led any in the second half. Probably the best the cars felt handling wise though all day long. A lot of it is probably no traffic around him. Yeah, I got a new camcorder for Christmas that I'm still trying to figure out before I use it. Got some extra NASCAR stuff for decoration for when I do decide to use the camera. We're going to have a complete overhaul of what the background's going to look like during the streams and other videos alike, especially when we get back to like the predictions and the race reviews when NASCAR starts. So that'd be pretty cool. Got some more golf balls. I'm an avid golfer for those of you that don't know. Got a gift card, $50 gift card too for basically almost any. It works for like a couple thousand golf courses in the U.S. that I could play on with that gift card, $50 worth. So when I go to travel to different races this coming season, it'll be a lot of fun. Get to maybe play a couple free rounds of golf at some good courses. So that'll be pretty cool too. And then just a couple other gift cards as well for like Buffalo Wild Wings and stuff, because I usually go there about once or twice a month. Some friends of mine. Jacob Comstock, welcome to the stream. $20 NASCAR diecast. Nice. I didn't get any diecast this year. I think I got one each of the last 2 years prior to that. I didn't really ask for one. There's not really one that I want of Blaney's that I don't have right now. Mainly because I bought one at Talladega and another one at Darlington this year too. So there wasn't really one that stuck out to me that I wanted. So maybe there'll be a cool paint scheme he runs next year that I can grab at the start of the season when I go to different races. Well, I guess I don't. The first race I'd be going to next year would be the Bristol Dirt Race, so I guess I wouldn't go to a race until a month and a half into the season roughly. But once that goes, I'll probably be going to like at least 1 or 2 races a month from that point on. I think like 1 race a month until like they get to Nashville. Then I'd be going to Nashville, the Pocono doubleheader, and Road America are all like 3 straight weeks. That'll be pretty fun. But yeah, outside of that though, I think it's like 1 race a month from late March all the way to Martinsville in October. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Biffle currently running in the 12th position as we speak. Stuck with the far chase cam for the rest of the race now. About 19 and a half to 20 seconds off the lead after that last set of pit stops currently for Terry Labonte. It's going to be interesting to see if Labonte's actually going to win this race. He's kind of a long shot now that we've gotten a little further into this one. Lucky, again, just to still be running at this point, though. Who knows? Maybe he'll turn Ricky Rudd if he sees him again. The car's not heavily damaged anymore, so we might very well do it, because we had our chances to do it on the last fuel run right before green flag stops, but we didn't. Brett Bodine's upset with accidental contact with Labonte from earlier, but he's not mad enough to try to intentionally hit him or wreck him, so once Labonte gets there, he should be able to get right around him. And again, it is also a fuel mileage race for those of you just tuning in right now as well. Everybody had to pit about 5 to 10 laps roughly before the opening of stop. Some guys were able to actually stretch it to about 63, 64 to go. Those guys I think can make it. But I don't believe everybody's going to make it. And Labonte pitted with 69 laps left. There were only 2 cars that were ahead of him that were able to make it longer.
Number 11 is coming line. Okay, we're clear. Best place for him is in your rear view.
I think the first 124 scale diecast I ever had, it was actually kind of passed down to me. My grandpa was a huge fan of Dodge when they were in NASCAR, and so he had a bunch of them. He still does have like a lot of Casey Kane, Bill Elliott when he was in the 9 for Evernham, a lot of like those ones. And he had a Jeremy Mainfield Mountain Dew paint scheme that looks sick. That was the first one I had. Then every other one I've got is either Biffle or Blaney at this point, as far as the 124 scales go. But I have a lot of 164s from over the years of a lot of different drivers, because when I was a little kid, I used to just play with them all the time. So I've had a lot left over since. Well, Labonte's caught at least one guy for position. That's Kevin Harvick in the 29. Harvick has been stuck behind Fittipaldi the last couple laps. Lack of straightaway speed there for Terry Labonte. Even Fittipaldi's kind of pulling him down the straightaways. But Labonte able to use him as a pick in the corner. And actually, Harvick's a lap down right now. I'm quite surprised. So Harvick was a lap down, not even on the lead lap. I know he was earlier. Again, for those of you just tuning in, the camera has frozen, but it was because the battery died. So the audio's still here. The race is still going live. There's just been a frozen camera on the upper right-hand corner of the screen there for about the last, I don't know, what was it, 40, 50 laps ago when it finally died. I was surprised it made it as far into the race as it did. But we are supporting Cheez-It tonight. We got the Cheez-It paint scheme on the car for the first time this year. For those of you that might have been watching for the first half of the race as well, before the camera died, you would have noticed I had a Cheez-It hat on. It was a Greg Biffle hat that I had for the last handful of years when he drove that paint scheme a couple times back in 2016. So I've got that hat, and then I also got a packet of Cheez-It. So we're all aboard the Cheez-It bandwagon here tonight, trying to get Terry Labonte a good run, especially at his home track as well, running everything. So we're just all supportive of Terry Labonte here tonight. That was a pass per position on Johnny Benson. That will move Labonte up to 11th. 18.4 seconds off the lead. So he's gained a second. He's halfway out of fuel, though, right now, with about 37 to go. It is going to be really, really close. I think it's going to be about 2 to 3 laps short for Labonte. We might see another caution before the end of the race. Another long green flag run. The longest green flag run of the race was 172 laps at the start before the first caution. And we've had 3 since. And this is closely approaching a 100-lap green flag run. Labonte's about to catch Joe Nemechek for 10th. Lap 300. It is now currently a 100-lap green flag run. Labonte to the inside of Joe Nemechek. Trying to get around him. Both drivers driving deep into turns 3 and 4. Labonte again gets under him. Nemechek tried to crowd him. These guys are teammates. And no, Nemechek's a lap down now too. So Nemechek was on the lead lap earlier, again, last time we saw him, so he's another driver who has gone a lap down over this green flag run. Labonte just blown by these guys in 1 and 2. Little contact to the left rear of Kenny Wallace. At least there's not heavy damage on the race car anymore. But Labonte just to be running in the top 10 again with this damaged race car is pretty impressive. Yeah, so if a caution comes out, the plan is going to be to pit. Because we're about 2 to 3 laps short, so even with a caution, we're still going to be extremely close. So we might as well pit and take fresh tires. If anybody else takes fresh tires, we're probably not going to win the race. If they don't, we'll have to line up at the rear. And all the lap cars are going to be in front of us likely too, unless those guys pit. So we'll be on fresher tires, but we've got a pretty banged up car. We can repair more damage too under a pit stop, so that could also help. We'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, if this race runs green to the end, assuming Labonte's 2 to 3 laps short on fuel, it's going to be a fuel-only stop. It'll be like a half a can only, gas and go. Not going to repair any damage, like maybe a 2 to 3 second stop, I'm hoping, and then get back out on the racetrack and run those final couple laps. Labonte's going to try to stretch this out as long as he can in case there's a caution. He's getting blocked up heavily right now by Jeremy Mayfield. Really heavily as they get into 1 and 2. A little contact. As Mayfield tried to pinch Labonte, and Labonte moves him out of the way, saying, I'm not taking any of it. I need to go. Right front's getting a little worn out. Yes, I always, with this game, do practice and qualify. Well, sometimes I don't qualify, but most of the time I do, and I do practice no matter what, usually. The only time I don't practice is on the super speedways. Before the Daytona 500, I practiced, but that was it. Yeah, the super speedways are the only tracks I really don't practice. I need to get a setup, especially with no stability help on this season. 17.1 off the lead for Labonte. So we have less than 30 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Terry Labonte's home track. Little contact with Kevin LePage as he's starting to push up the track a little bit again on these older tires. But even with the contact, he gets to the inside of Craven. I'm not sure if Craven's on the lead lap. No, he's not. Craven's not for position either. Another lap car. Labonte drives right around him into 1 and 2, so a lot of clean air now ahead of Terry Labonte. That was another thing too. Bobby Labonte had blown an engine earlier in the race today, before the halfway mark, so tough break for one of the two Labonte brothers at their home track. Terry trying to bring it home it doesn't look like he's going to get the win today, but if he can just salvage a top 5, maybe a top 10, maybe everybody's short on fuel to the end. I don't think that's going to be the case. I seriously think at least 5 guys or so on the lead lap are going to make it. But if they don't, maybe a fuel-only stop for Labonte could win him the race, because AI usually tends to take 4 tires under every pit stop no matter what. Even in like the Bud shootout when it's a 2-tire stop, like mandatory 2-tire stop, I still think they take 4. For whatever reason. That's why we got out to such a big lead and we were able to draft with lap cars and never look back. And they had to make an extra stop because they pitted too early. That was just a weird race. Bonnie got his first points win of the season, though, in the last race at Bristol. Obviously, coming into his home track today, he was hoping for a better finish, but after flipping in this race to get a top 10, that's pretty impressive of itself. Next full race live stream on the channel will be tomorrow. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the start time for that one. Oh, sorry. No, it's not. I forgot. My sister's got a basketball game tomorrow. 8:30. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time is the start time tomorrow. Xfinity Series action on the channel on NASCAR Heat 5. It'll be the first race of the round of 8 at Kansas. So that will be the next full race live stream. So a little bit later start time, so that's why we're running the Xfinity race tomorrow at Kansas. We were playing with Biffle on Season 1. We didn't win the championship. Doing a second season here with a fan-voted driver of Terry Labonte. That fan vote happened on the live stream of the Budweiser shootout right before we ran the race. You guys got to pick the driver, and Labonte won the vote as Labonte slides heavily off of turn 2. He's starting to cut into that lead, but it's just too little, too late. Those guys might be trying to save gas, too. Labonte underneath Biffle. I think Kevin Harvick. No, that might not be Harvick up ahead. It's hard to tell. Wow, Labonte just cleared Biffle going off into turns 3 and 4. Labonte barely keeps it off Mike Skinner now as well. 14.2 off the lead. Labonte just looks really fast. Look at that, he even passed Steve Park on the outside. 1 and 2. I haven't seen too many passes up there today. These guys might be backing off trying to save fuel. Labonte is not. I think he's committed to trying to run it as far as he is the way it is. 19 laps to go at the line. About a quarter of a tank of fuel left in the 5 of Labonte's car. Some drivers pitted about 5 to 10 laps before him. Some guys pitted quite a ways after him. Wallace is another driver who's a lap down. Right rear starting to get worn. So we're getting down to the very end of the race today. Again, it is a fuel mileage race. So even the race leader right now might not end up coming back to win this thing. This guy's just trying to ride it out to the finish. Labonte has caught Martin a little bump and run into turns 1 and 2. Oh, but Labonte's still getting loose in 1 and 2. He's not able to complete the pass. Car's not severely damaged. He's willing to use the bumper. Getting desperate for every position possible now. Gotta be careful doing that with older tires. Martin's trying to block him right now. It's the only reason that Labonte tried to use the bumper. It's the blocking Martin was doing. And now, finally, Labonte gets around him for 9th. Great corner of 1 and 2 as Martin had to drive the outside. Labonte was able to sneak by to the bottom. So who will make it on fuel to win at Texas Motor Speedway and who will not? Jeff Burton, next driver, up ahead of Labonte. Labonte was almost 20 seconds off the lead after coming off of pit road. He's now just about 13 seconds off the lead. Labonte to the inside of Jeff Burton into turn 3 now for 8th place. And Labonte will drive around him. Seen crashes a couple times today with guys on older tires. McMurray's spin off of turn 2 was definitely a cause for older tires, because it didn't look like he had contact initially that turned him around in the first place. "12 seconds off the lead." Labonte's really closing in quite a bit right now in the leaders. If everybody can't make it, which I don't think that's going to be the case, somebody's got to make it, you would think. But if everybody can't make it, Terry Labonte making a fuel-only stop, half a can, might actually win the race. If everybody else that has to pit takes 4 tires. If not, at least he's going to gain some sort of spots out of it, assuming majority of the lead lap cars have to pit. Nobody's had to come to pit road yet. Well, a couple drivers did as soon as the window opened because they weren't going to be able to make it. But most of them were lap cars. I think only one of the lead lap cars actually did that strategy. Yes, I am the red dot. The blue dot is the leader.
They're almost out of gas.
It's going to be a real shame if everybody else can make it. I don't think that's going to be the case, but like I said, I think some guys are going to make it and some guys aren't. Labonte's only 10.5 seconds off the lead now. And Jerry Nadeau's the next driver up ahead of Terry Labonte, and Labonte's not even going to waste any time. He's got to get right around him. He can't waste any more time today, this late in the race especially. Labonte gets underneath Nadeau now, off of turn 4. Oh, Nadeau takes a swing. 11 to go. The right side of Labonte's car severely damaged now. The problem is, now he's got Ricky Rudd coming up just in front of him. Labonte trying to keep it off the wall. The right side's severely damaged now after Jerry Nadeau tried to take him out again. And that is just extremely tightened up Labonte's car. Ten to go. Oh, McMurray with a block, and he got tight. It opens up the bottom for Labonte to get underneath him now. Labonte locks the tires up to try and get the car to turn underneath McMurray into 3 and 4. Coming up on Ricky Rudd, who is actually 4 position as well. 9 laps to go. Labonte can't take another hit to the right side of his race car. But Labonte's also got to go. He's getting pretty low on fuel.
The 21 car is putting a block on you. The leader's interval's about 9 seconds.
8 to go. Got loose. Labonte got off of turn 2. Big time save.
Number 21 is throwing a block on you.
Some cars have had to pit the last couple laps, by the way.
The
Labonte trying to stay in the gas. Oh, man, he almost spun off of turn 2 again. He can make it another lap or 2 on fuel, and then he'll have to pit. So he's actually burned more fuel this run than what he did any other run. The damage could be some of it. 9.7 seconds off the lead. About 7 laps to go. I think Labonte's got to come to pit road now. He's not going to make it. We're probably not going to get a caution. And Ricky Rudd's costing him a ton of time. Labonte coming into the pits. Fuel only. He'll be the first of the leaders to come to pit road. Oh my goodness, a pit road speeding penalty for Labonte. Half a can only. Some cars are on pit road. That is going to cost Labonte so much time. Oh my goodness. And now a mistake with the gas man on pit road. This is unbelievable. First Labonte speeds to pit road, then the gas man can't get the car full of fuel. Labonte's back to 14th. Now he's about to spin on older tires trying to come off of pit road. I would be shocked if everybody else makes it on fuel. They shouldn't make it. Labonte did pit a lap or 2 early, but he was still going to be short. So now he's showing a lap down in 14th. I don't think he's going to be able to catch anybody else for position today. It is a fuel economy run to the finish right now for the leaders, though, as they have 2 laps to go. I can't believe they're going to make it. I'm surprised. Some of those guys made it over 70 laps on fuel. That is insane. We only made it 66. Or we could have made it 66. If I didn't have heavy damage on the car, I would have tried to turn Ricky Rudd. We still have heavy damage, though, so we still got to make it to the finish. Big slide there. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Looks like Labonte's going to finish a lap down today. Final lap for Labonte, being a lap down there in 14th. Had to sacrifice a top 10 finish. Maybe even a shot at the win. After wrecking earlier in the race, but at least he's able to get to the end. Checkered flag is in the air. I cannot believe everybody else made it on fuel. Nobody on the lead lap pitted outside of Labonte. I would have thought a couple guys could have made it, but I did not think everybody was going to be able to make it. That's unbelievable. Jimmy Johnson will go on to win his first race of the season at Texas Motor Speedway. Hendrick Chevrolet at least got the victory lane today, but Jimmy Johnson will be that Hendrick Chevrolet. You got to say rivals costed maybe the race on Labonte as well as just time in general. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome. Jackson Thomas, welcome. The speeding definitely hurt too. We probably could have finished maybe 11th or 12th if we didn't speed. And then the gas man couldn't even... we had 3 mistakes on pit road today too. I had 1 in practice also, but obviously that was unrecorded. But 3 mistakes on pit road, not counting the pit road speeding penalty. Labonte flipped but was still able to run, but he didn't lead a single lap after that point. It was a wild race at Texas to say the least, but man, that was just... It was an unfortunate ending to the race. It sucks that not only we couldn't win, but we couldn't even get a top 10 out of it. We were supporting Cheez-It heavily today. I think we're going to have to support them again on, whenever the Talladega race is coming up next. I can't remember what day the next Thunder 04 stream is, but I think we're going to have Cheez-It on the sponsor again until we get a win with them. So I will be decked out in Cheez-It gear. We'll take a look at the finishing results to today's race again. Jimmy Johnson with the win, leading only 24 laps after starting 15th. We saw he had a fast car earlier in the race, So good for Johnson that he was able to get that first one of the season. We have now had 7 different winners in the first 7 races of the year. 3 cautions total for 9 caution laps. 20 lead changes today. Again, it was a pretty good fight at the front of the field for most of the race. 3 hours, 1 minute total time on the race today as well. Dale Jr. finishes second, Jeff Gordon third, Tony Stewart fourth, and Ryan Newman rounds out the top 5. Jr. led 71 laps today. Wow. Kurt Busch finishes in 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Jeff Burton 8th, 9th was Mark Martin, Johnny Benson rounds out the top 10. We led 121 laps with Terry Labonte today, so we did clinch the most laps led, getting 10 bonus points. Started on the pole, didn't lead our first lap till lap 39. We fell back on the initial start. Luckily, we made it through that near accident as well as obviously flipping, as I mentioned, at lap 172. Also, Jerry Nadeau flipped, and he got to the end of the race, but he finished multiple laps down as well. 11 cars finished on the lead lap, so yeah, we probably would have finished 12th if we didn't speed on pit road. So that cost us a couple points, a couple positions too. I think, because we were just behind Ward Burton at the finish, so we definitely could have finished ahead of him. Great run for Ward as well. Started 40th and finished 13th. With only 3 cautions, that is really impressive. So, take a look at who all DNF'd today as well. Nadeau, who also flipped, as mentioned, finished in 27th. So we had 2 drivers flip that finished the race today. Your DNFs, Robbie Gordon, engine failure. We saw Bobby Labonte's engine failure as well. Elliott Sadler with an engine failure. Casey Mears also had an engine failure. So 4 drivers failed to finish today's race. We saw a lot of guys hit the wall hard on that last long green flag run. Again, we went the final the final 134 laps under green. It was the second longest green flag run outside of the start of the race, which again we went 172 before the first caution. Take a quick look at the point standings in the upcoming races on this Thunder 04 schedule. Again, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the next full race live stream. NASCAR Xfinity Series action at the Kansas Speedway for the first race of the round of 8 of the playoffs there. So maybe a shot for us to get Dale Jr. into the championship 4 for the Xfinity Series tomorrow. So that should be a fun race. And a fun racetrack at Kansas. Will be rim riding it around the outside most of the day. Yes, 5-second penalty is better than 15. We definitely could have finished even worse if it was 15 like it is on today's NASCAR games. As mentioned, though, Talladega is the next race. How about that, though? 7 different winners in the first 7 races of the year. We might see an 8th at Talladega. That's very well possible. Talladega, Martinsville, California, and Richmond will be the next 4 races, and then the All-Star race will follow that. Dale Jr. takes over the points lead from Matt Kenseth. Still early in the season. Again, we don't know how the season standings will shape up exactly as far as who will be the true contenders until we get about a dozen races in, and we've only completed 7, so still early in the season to say the least. I think we gained a little bit of ground on the points lead. We came in 27th. We come out 25th, so we gained 2 spots. And we lost 8 points with Junior taking the lead there. And Junior having a solid run as well, finishing in 2nd. So we only lost 8 points today, but we still lost points, unfortunately. That could have definitely been a good win. Especially at Terry Labonte's home track, too. Mentioned that a couple times today. So we had the Cheez-It on the car. Had the Cheez-It hat. And the Cheez-Its to my right. You can't see it because the camera's frozen. But this bag right here I'm about to tear into. And then on top of the Labonte's home tracks. And tough break for Terry, finishing 14th. Tough break for Bobby Labonte, finishing 42nd, blowing an engine there midway through the race. Thanks, everybody, for watching here today. Like, share, but most importantly, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We have these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every single day. Currently, right now, we are close to 700 subs. Still at 696. So, we will hopefully have better luck next time, not only tomorrow, but in the next race on Thunder 04 again when we go to Talladega. It should be a fun race there later in the week. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, I'll see you guys next time, 8:30 tomorrow.